right, good evening, everybody. Thank you for attending the workshop this evening. This is the Contributions to Nonprofits grant application. I just want to give a little bit of background for those of you who may not be familiar with the process. So this year, the city developed a dedicated application process that's tailored specifically for nonprofit organizations that are seeking funding. In previous years, the nonprofit entities submitted funding requests through the CDBG program, which is Community Development Block Grant. Several years ago, the City Council made the decision to allocate CDBG funds toward municipal construction projects, thereby necessitating a separate process for the nonprofit applications. In December and January, information about the grant application process was disseminated to the community through a press release, email, social media, and the city's website. The application period opened on February 3rd of 2025, and it closed on February 28th of 2025. A total of 11 applications were received this year, amounting to $139,770 in funding requests. Each fiscal year, the city designates $50,000 for contributions to nonprofit organizations. As part of the review process, staff verified the operating status and nonprofit registry validation of each applicant to ensure eligibility and compliance with funding guidelines. So I'd like to inform all the agencies present this evening that have submitted grant applications that no action will be taken this evening. The subcommittee will review individual applications over the next couple of weeks, and they will present their funding recommendations to the entire City Council. Agencies can expect to receive notification after July 1st. Each organization will be given 3 minutes to present information to the City Council, and please be prepared to answer questions. Organizations will be called up to the podium in no particular order. Okay? So we'll go ahead and get started with the presentations. May I please have High Desert Community Foundation ready for reading? Come up, please. All right, and it's all yours.
Okay, I'm going to read this because it's about 3 minutes. My name is Lynette Ramirez, and I'm the founder of Ready for Reading Book Club. One of our missions is to address medical illiteracy. Medical illiteracy costs the American taxpayers $230 billion a year because people cannot read their own medicine bottles or medical instructions in case of an emergency. I am one of the new members of the Twentynine Palms CERT team, as well as a CPR instructor, and I'm offering my services for free. We already do free CPR classes in Twentynine Palms, and we have already received grants from Walmart private funds, and I also include my own private funds to support the CPR classes. This money will be used to train over 300 people in first aid and CPR, which is Red Cross and American Heart Association approved. It's a 2-year certificate with 6.0 continuous education hours. Our CERT team, the Twentynine Palms CERT team, consists of elderly people. We will not be able to depend on the military in an emergency. Their first concern is security, and civil support is a secondary. Recent cuts to FEMA basically means there will be a delay in response to a disaster in Twentynine Palms. We must start to train people to take care of themselves in case of an emergency until outside help comes. Why the book program? Oasis Elementary School and Palm Vista Elementary School are both performing below state level for children at that grade level. Both are failing in their English exams, 23 and 24% for both schools. For the past 3 years, my agency has given books to Oasis and Palm Vista, Twentynine Palms, the children of Twentynine Palms. We have started a special needs program, and we do free theme-based programs throughout the community for disadvantaged families that cannot afford the fees that boys and girls clubs would have. Last year, the nation's reading scores showed the worst test scores in the past 2 decades. This is not a school district problem. This is a community problem. Many cities are now standing behind reading programs and backing reading programs. These funds will be used to purchase age-appropriate books through the Scholastic. We will give these books away at backpack programs through the summer, clothing programs, and remaining books will be distributed to Oasis and Palm Vista. This is a program, I'm done. I'm done. Told you 3 minutes, thank you.
Any questions? No? Okay. Thank you so much.
No
Appreciate it.
questions, thank you.
And the amount requested from High Desert Community Foundation Ready for Reading was $3,000. Up next would be Inspiration's Edge.
Good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. My name is Ian Ferris, President of Inspiration's Edge.
And I'm Leon McNeltier, Vice President. Together, we co-founded a new nonprofit community theater serving the Morongo Basin.
We created Inspiration's Edge in June of 2024 with the intention to make theater more accessible across our region. And as a mobile theater company, we bring the stage to the audience, transforming unexpected spaces into places for creativity, connection, and joy. In less than a year, we've produced 3 productions, multiple fundraisers, and hosted recurring improv shows. We're grateful to have over 42 registered volunteers, 125 registered patrons, and over 200 attendees to our events this first year.
While performances are at the heart of what we do, we're just as focused on being a nonprofit that's as strong behind the scenes as it is on stage, one that delivers lasting value to our community. Since our founding less than a year ago, we've secured 501c3 nonprofit status, earned a platinum transparency rating on GuideStar, and formed strong partnerships with local organizations like the Twentynine Palms Elks Lodge, the Twentynine Palms Farmers Market, and the Morongo Unified School District. These relationships help us keep our work affordable, flexible, and rooted in our community.
As we continue into our second year, we're planning a summer fundraiser, multiple improv shows, and our first main stage musical. And we'll wrap up our inaugural season with a holiday show, a comedy, and a cabaret. We've accomplished a lot using what is now considered obsolete equipment, but we are reaching the point where we need to invest in tools that will help us grow sustainably. If awarded the funds, one of our top priorities is purchasing portable lighting equipment, because as much as we love working in found spaces, sometimes it's tough to shine without a spotlight.
New lights will allow us to safely and creatively turn just about any space into a theater stage, bringing theater to more people in more places, and increasing our ability to support and collaborate with other local businesses and nonprofits. We started Inspiration's Edge because we believe theater should be co-created with, by, and for our local community.
We are committed to using theater to uplift, connect, and inspire our desert community, and your support makes that even more successful. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Inspiration's Edge requested $10,000 in funding. Up next, Girls on the Run, Riverside County.
Hello, my name is Molly Whitcomb, and I am the Council Director for Girls on the Run Inland Empire. Thank you for inviting us here tonight. We appreciate the hospitality, and I love a good audiobook, so I love the drive out here. So we have been in the Inland Empire since March of 2020 as an after-school program. As you might imagine, that was kind of a bummer of a time to open an after-school program, but luckily we had the backing of our national organization that's been around for nearly 30 years, providing programming all over the United States and Canada so that girls can really become inspired to be joyful, healthy, and confident. We have actually been serving girls 3rd through 8th grade in Twentynine Palms due to a partnership with the Parks and Rec Department. We were approached early in the spring, they had received some funding from some other sources, their national organization and Nike, and asked if we would come out and do their coach training, set them up to do programming for girls. So we have served 25 girls this spring. They just had their 5K. I don't know if anybody went out to Parks and Rec for that at Lucky Park. Thank you for doing that. And if you don't cry or laugh at a Girls on the Run 5K, you're not doing it right. It's very joyful. So we would love to have the funding to be able to continue this partnership. And again, we are all over the Inland Empire. We stretch as far south as Temecula, as far north as Big Bear. You are our farthest eastern region, so thank you for helping stretch us. And then we're in Riverside and really all over San Bernardino counties. Our funding would be primarily so that we can train coaches appropriately and then offer the programming to the girls and the caregivers at no cost. It does cost roughly $536 per girl, and we don't like to charge any fees at all if we can help it. What they get out of the program, they really turn right back around and put into their community through the Community Impact Project that happens at the end of the season. And so they're learning to give back as much as they are getting. And we would just love to continue to be able to serve girls. We will have a summer camp out here, still partnering with Parks and Rec. So we anticipate serving 60 girls this summer in 2 different 1-week half-day camps, and if awarded the funding, then we would be able to continue into the next school year and just continue to grow and reach the girls out here and help them move and feel good about themselves. So I will pause for questions if you have any.
Okay.
Thank
Thank you very much. Girls on the Run requested $10,000 in funding. Up next, we have Theater 29.
Thank you. I'm Gary Danielle. I'm the governmental liaison for Theater 29. Theater 29 was started in 1999 by a group of parents in 29 Palms concerned that our schools were not offering live arts. And by the way, we're back there now in our schools. They're not offering no band, very little theater. It's really a shame, and no music. These parents were concerned, and they started putting on plays using school district facilities. The goal was not to train performers, but to train audiences, to provide young people with a lifelong appreciation for the theater arts. In 2000, we formalized Theater 29 as an arts organization. The city invited us to share a building on Sullivan Road with the youth club. A short time after that, the youth club moved to Lucky Park. Theater 29 became a program of 29 Palms Park and Recreation, with the city providing the building and the volunteer board running the theater arts program. Volunteers did major renovations and improvements to the building, stage, sound and light booth, 3 restrooms, green room, carpeting, curtains, risers, seating for an audience of 95, an extension of our backstage area, all by volunteers supported by generous donors and patrons. In 2003, still part of the city, we applied for an $80,000 CDBG grant from the county and put in paving, outside lighting, curbs and gutters, and a storage building. In December of 2005, Theater 29, in need of outside funding, amicably broke from the city, became an independent organization, got a 501c3 tax-exempt designation from the IRS, joined the American Association of Community Theaters, and acquired our own insurance policies. In 2006, Theater 29 got another $80,000 block grant from the county for state-of-the-art air conditioning and heating. And we entered a 10-year lease with the city for $1 a year for the building provided in the public good by the city. The lease was renewed in 2016. Theater 29 pays all support costs, utilities, phone, trash, maintenance. The city pays for major building repairs unrelated to play production. Theater 29 then partnered with the city on another metal storage building, with the city providing $15,000 and the city and the theater providing $15,000 in engineering, concrete, and labor. In 2017, with lots of military kids and families involved in our productions, the Officer Spouses Club aboard the Marine Corps base gave us a community grant to pay for desperately needed carpet. The theater is a true community effort. The seats came from the Jehovah's Witnesses, the curtain from the Latter-day Saints, the recycled paint from the county. Our electronic signs are a partnership with the city, the 29 Palms Band of Mission Indians, and the theater. A big highlight is our Theater 29 Summer Youth Theater program coming up again, which produces children's productions in an intense 5-week program. And grants from Rotary, Kiwanis, and the city enable us to offer the program at reduced costs. Those scholarships have ensured that no child has been turned away. I got about 10 more seconds. In 24 years, Theater 29 has operated from the city facility. We've produced 157 productions, viewed by 16,000 patrons, involving some 2,000 volunteers, children, teens, adults, active duty, independents. And a study in 2018 showed that 51% of the people coming to Theater 29 come from outside 29 Palms. What we are trying to do is fix the shop. Things are getting a little old. We just put in $50,000 worth of state-of-the-art lighting. Now we're working on our sound system, and we're going through a whole list of things. The building's 25 years that we've been in it is starting to show its age. That is why we've applied for this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Theater 29 is requesting $20,000 in funding. Up next is Morongo Basin Unity Home.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Susanna Barnett, and I'm representing Morongo Basin Unity Home. And Morongo Basin Unity Home is a domestic violence organization, and we've been around since 1982. A little bit of history is we actually started here in 29 Palms, but the shelter was compromised by an abuser, so we ended having to move to an undisclosed location. So our domestic violence organization is the only one within 80-mile radius. So these families have nowhere to go who are seeking domestic violence services. And our shelter is a 30-bed shelter, and we also have transitional housing. We also have our outreach services, and a little bit of numbers that I wanted to show that just last year and the beginning of this year, we have served 156 families, and those were from 29 Palms. Whether they were in shelter, seeking restraining orders, outreach services, continuous services that we provide in the Morongo Basin. We have, up till now, served 264 families who are victims of domestic violence. We have had 1,538 hotline calls. We have served 13,167 meals in our shelter services. We also have provided 4,490 bed nights in our shelter. And our families can stay up to 4 months in our shelter. And while they're there, we're helping them, rebuild their life, go into their own houses, into our transitional housing, which we have 10 apartments. And so it's, services that they can do either, whether it's shelter, outreach, our transitional. We also have a thrift store in Yucca Valley where all our clients and receive all their clothing and household items at no cost. So I know 3 minutes is not a lot, but I wanted to make sure I kept myself. Oh, okay. So I'm open for any questions. Okay. I think I covered pretty much everything then.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Morongo Basin Unity Home is requesting $16,000. Up next, we have 29 PSP.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Sherman Tam, and I am the Chief Development Officer for 29 PSP. We are a 100% volunteer organization that was started just over a year ago because a prior service called SOS Rides, who you might have heard about, ceased operations. A few of those volunteers came together using their own funds to start the new nonprofit. We just celebrated our 1-year anniversary, providing 1,300 rides to approximately, 1,300 rides to the active military and their loved ones between 29 Palms Marine Base and the Palm Springs and Ontario Airport. We currently have approximately 35 volunteers. They do use their own vehicle. We do provide reimbursement for mileage. Right now, the biggest challenge that the Marines and their loved ones have is some of them are young, where they cannot rent a car because they're under 25 years old. There's also a cost. There's also the challenge with accessing the base if you are to rent a car or if you wanted to take a ride share or a taxi on base. And of course, the cost. It's roughly $250 if you can find the ride. That will take you between the base and the Palm Springs Airport. As you can imagine, that is quite expensive for our Marines and their loved ones when they are paid a very minimum salary. The other challenge that we have is, of course, just regular transportation. When you are using the transportation, but you have 5 bags or pieces of luggage, or if you have a child with you traveling, that becomes also burdensome for the family. We are requesting a grant to help fund rental vans, to also reimburse our volunteer drivers for their mileage. And we also would like to automate the request for rides process currently on our website, so it's a little bit more efficient, and that would require us to hire someone to do some of the technical programming on our behalf. And just in closing, what we're trying to do is provide the active military and their loved ones with reliable transportation that is safe, but also that is affordable and that is available to them and their families. That's all I have. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. 29 PSP is requesting $3,800. Up next, we have Reach Out Morongo Basin.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members, city staff. Reach Out Morongo Basin has a long history in the city of 29 Palms. We were originally founded here in 1998 and have continuously provided services in that time. The funding that we're requesting is to help us with our transportation program and with services for seniors at the 29 Palms Senior Center, which we oversee the operations of. To give you an idea, in 2024, the Senior Center was open for 257 days, every day, Monday through Friday from 9 to 5. Because of our operations there, we are the only senior center in the entire Morongo Basin that is open full time. We hosted an average of 50 to 70 people daily for lunch and activities. Those numbers are increasing. We're averaging anywhere from 60 to 80 a day now. We had helped 4,251 individuals with walk-in and call services. As a resource for the community, we get a lot of calls from people looking for any kind of information they can about the city, about services that we refer or we assist them ourselves. We operated as a regional cooling center for homeless and other individuals when we hit our extreme temperatures. We organized and hosted the local assistance center when we had the flash flooding last year. We organize and hold multiple holiday parties for our seniors, from Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, Easter, Memorial Day barbecues, which they had one this past Friday, July barbecues, Labor Day barbecues, and these are activities for seniors, not only that come to the senior center, but we advertise them and we bring in seniors from the community for these activities. We took seniors on an outing to the Theater 29. They got to go see The Sound of Music last year. This year we took them to go see Jesus Christ Superstar. We collaborate with the food pantry for food boxes that we deliver to seniors and shut-ins, and we also do a drive-through delivery. We oversee operations of the senior nutrition program, and we assist their staff when they do not have staff or fund or the ability to come and man our site, which does happen. So Reach Out Morongo Basin staff will plan a meal, step in, prepare the food, and serve our seniors when they need it. We coordinate healthcare seminars and outreach events. We coordinate Medicare enrollment seminars. We schedule art classes, exercises, educational seminars. We had intergenerational activities with the very first 29 Palms Youth Council, and we do collaborations with PAC for art activities. These are all the things that we do at the Senior Center. But on top of that, our programs, we served 1,026 senior individuals in the city of 29 Palms. Those are with reach out services. Those are our homemaker services, our chore assistance in the collaboration with the Morongo Basin with the Marine Corps base. And we also drive people to doctor's appointments, shopping, and other errands. So we have a lot of things that we do, and we just, hopefully you can support us in continuing all of these things to keep our people active. Thank you. Any questions? Yes, ma'am.
I thank you for your presentation. I see that it says you guys currently host about 50 to 70 senior congregants, but then in a separate section it says that you guys do rides to appointments, shoppings, things like that. Is the 50 to 70 in counting the rides that you guys do too, or the rides are separate as well?
It's the 1,026 clients that we serve are separate from the activities at the senior center.
Wow.
The
Okay.
senior center is one part of our program. The 1,026 that we do with the transportation and all of the other things, that's an entirely separate program. And so those numbers are definitely different.
So then we would add them together to.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Reach out requested $20,000. Up next, we have the 29 Palms Community Food Pantry.
Good evening, everyone. I'm here this evening to speak for the 29 Palms Community Food Pantry. And I'd like to start by saying thank you to all of the nonprofits who are in the audience tonight and all of the wonderful things that they do in our community. We couldn't be the community we are without them. I'm here tonight to request from the City Council $30,000 for the 29 Palms Community Food Pantry. We operate from a donated space and utilizing a combination of resources that include grants, private donations, fundraising, food drives, food banks, and local resources. We provide emergency food assistance to over 700 unduplicated families in our community. We offer 3 opportunities a month for these families to access emergency food. We do that through our food pantry located at 6450 Star Dune Avenue, where we are open 3 mornings a week and 2 evenings. We are providing food to approximately 175 to 250 families that way. The second opportunity is through a USDA-sponsored giveaway at our pantry, and we serve 144 patrons once a month at that giveaway. And finally, at the senior distribution, we're serving approximately 200 seniors now, once a month with our partnership with Find and the Senior Center. Some of our patrons utilize these opportunities one time a month, or once a month, one time a year. Some of them, most of them, are using our services 7 times a year. And that doesn't seem like a lot, but individually, if we add up all of our numbers, 10,000 meals are being provided by the 29 Palms Community Food Pantry to our community. Like many other nonprofit groups, the 29 Palms Community Food Pantry is experiencing a challenge and a reduction in our usual resources. And in response, we've stepped up our fundraising activities. We're actively looking for new resources and partnerships, and we're also looking for a new home as we look to expand our food recovery program and develop programs that will help our patrons become more food secure and self-reliant. The 29 Palms Community Food Pantry wants to assure you that as we grow with the times and our planned move, we will not be interrupting our services or providing less in the community where we have served since 2004. We want to thank you for your time tonight, and we also want to thank you for the assistance that you've provided to all of us in the past, and hope that you'll consider our request this evening. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, again, $30,000 was requested by the food pantry. Up next, we have Molding Hearts.
Hello, good evening, Mayor, Council, as well as Dr. Stone. Molding Hearts is a 501c3 nonprofit organization dedicated to providing essential housing services to unhoused individuals throughout San Bernardino County. Our headquarters is located in Yucca Valley. Our organization serves communities with incomes below the state median, offering critical resources that empower individuals and promote long-term stability. Our vision: we envision transforming the lives of the homeless population in San Bernardino County through empowerment, self-determination, and innovative strategies by utilizing a holistic curriculum-based life skill program. MoldingHearts.org fosters personal growth, resilience, and the rebuilding of self-esteem and self-respect. I'm sorry. I get a little nervous. I'm sorry. Okay. Who we serve. We provide services to individuals with a primary diagnosis of moderate to severe mental illness, those who also have a secondary diagnosis of substance disorder, and individuals who are homeless or at the risk of becoming homeless due to mental illness. Our services are focused within the County of San Bernardino. Our program approach. At Molding Hearts, we implement a structured program. We first do an initial intake assessment. Every client receives a comprehensive assessment during their first visit. This evaluation helps to determine the services they qualify for and initiates the creation of an individualized success plan. We work with the Housing First model. We embrace a Housing First model philosophy, providing safe and stable transitional housing as a foundation. We step towards the recovery of the client, and we work on their personal development. We work with a curriculum-based program, but most importantly, we work with public workshops where we conduct community-based workshops for helping them with their life skills, helping them with job readiness, things that's going to empower them to better themselves as a person. Our organization has been working with 29 Palms to assist with their unhoused population. Our agency has successfully housed 38 individuals. We have helped 7 families stay in their homes. Oh, that was fast. We have been able to assist 13 individuals as well. I won't go over because 3 minutes is 3 minutes. I just want to say that if I am awarded the $10,000, even though I service all of San Bernardino County, the funds that I receive would actually only be used to help the unhoused in 29 Palms.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Once again, Molding Hearts is requesting $10,000. The Hope Center Community Learning Equipping Project.
Good evening, Mayor, Council members, and esteemed community leaders. My name is Terrence Sandifer, and I have the honor of serving as the director of the Hope Center, a nonprofit organization under the Community Learning Equipping Project, soon to be named the Hope Project. Thank you for this opportunity to share our mission and our vision for what is next. Founded in December of 2023, the Hope Center exists to be a place of transformation, where the underserved individuals and families in 29 Palms find not only immediate support, but lasting empowerment. In our first year alone, we've made some meaningful strides, distributing over $10,000 in grocery assistance, equipping more than 200 residents with NORCAM training through a partnership, providing clothing and school supplies to over 200 children going back to school, along with some free haircuts and hairdos as well. Delivering monthly baby care packages, which is our diaper giveaway, which is actually going on as we speak. If the city awards the funding to the Hope Center, we plan to build on this foundation in 2 transformative ways. The first thing we're looking to do is to launch a community-centered literacy and financial management program that empowers our residents with tools and long-term self-sufficiency, helping them better understand budgets, credit, debt management, and building economic resiliency. Literacy instructions will focus on helping adult strengthen their reading comprehension, community skills, and which are critical for both employment and everyday life. The second thing we'll do is we will develop and host personal and professional development workshops designed to uplift individuals who are unemployed, underemployed, or simply seeking to grow. These workshops will include resume writing, job interview preparations, confidence building, life skills coaching. Our aim is to prepare participants not just to find work, but to pursue purpose, discover leadership potentials, and become contributors, to the broader community. We envision a future where every individual has access to the resources, knowledge, and support they need to rise. This grant will allow us to expand our reach, strengthen our programming, and build a more connected, empowered 29 Palms. So with that being said, thank you for considering our request. We are grateful for your time and commitment to this city, and we all call home. Thank you. Any questions?
Great, thank you. Once again, the Hope Center Community Learning Equipment Project is requesting $10,000. Do I have anybody here from the 29 Palms 29ers? No? Okay, thank you. Just want to say thank you all again for everything that you do for our community. It's really important. I know it's a thankless job. Your service is invaluable. So thank you all for coming tonight. And if the mayor would like to open it up for public comment, we have a few minutes before the regular city council meeting starts. I don't have a list. No, this is a presenter. Yeah.
I didn't fill it out, but I actually want to comment. I mean, I just didn't know how this worked. You know, I just want to recognize how, you know, it's so great that there's so much need out there and they do so much. I get the name wrong. Ashkandar, who's on our public arts committee, we've been chatting about different ways, you know, because they're doing some grants on the PAC. And one of the things I was noticing over in Yucca Valley, the way they've done their Measure Y and Measure Z grant proposals and stuff, and a lot of these applicants are on the list over there. I think that $100,000 to give away, I don't know if that's accurate or not, but the list of people applying in all of these great programs, such as Marjorie, Reach Out, the PSP program, the theater. I mean, there's not a bad program here listing, but it was very great. I mean, you see how many people are trying to do great things for the community with limited funds. So I think it would be great if we could come up with, I'm not sure how our scoring system works, but it would be great to see how we can figure out how to do more. And I just want to comment on the PSP thing. This is the program that the marketing director of the airport, I chatted with you guys like 6 months ago, reached out to me about like the confusion on Basin transit, and there was some lack of, you know, overlapping services. Actually, you're gonna have to excuse me today because I'm going on like 2 hours sleep. I've had meetings all day, you know, like eight meetings. But I was at the airport this morning and I was trying to catch the marketing guys. I was there at 7, but I missed them. But I was able to talk to Victoria, who's like the second in command of the airport, and Victoria, can't remember her last name, but we're working on the passport promotion, and this is something we were actually talking about, the PSP thing, so I'm glad to connect with him. So anyways, kudos to everyone for all you do. Thank you.
Thank you. That's it. Once again, thanks everybody for everything you guys are doing in the community. Greatly appreciated.
Yeah, let's exchange cards. Yeah. And I would be interested in getting set up. I'm down there so much, I'll totally volunteer. Better try. Yeah, yeah. I mean, and I'm at the airport so much.
So one of the things that I talked to Councilman Grace Gardner.
I work with Grace.
Oh, okay. So she has friends that live there, but they work in Hot Springs. So she's going to put me in touch with them when we might create a program where if you have time, pick them up because you're already 3/4 way up, and then we reimburse your gas to take. I mean, it's good.
Yeah, I have a pending meeting with Grace and Mayor Bernstein. I would say Mayor Bernstein because they rotate.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, and some of the frustrates me That's their page.
Oh, okay. Nice.
You know, but check me out, like, and we're gonna be having a community discussion here.
Okay.
And we're reading our website, that's one of the things we're doing, that's kind of, but I'd love to kind of know, I gotta know, like, since you're.
No. No, and when are you guys planning to launch?
We've already launched,
Oh,
you know,
okay.
I'm going to, I'm published, you know, we're trying to get this off to publisher soon.
Okay.
It's just, I'm so, oh, and here's a sample block of the current version of TASHA, you think that's, but I definitely would love to highlight this on our website.
I would love
Give
to.
you access to our portal.
Yes, and we would like to, you know, highlight your stuff to our membership. We just have, like, 'cause we do a lot of events, so we would love to just cross promote everything as well. Because
You guys just have a share museum?
we don't just because it's so expensive, but yes.
I'm working with them a lot too.
Okay,
So,
okay. But maybe we can collaborate and just
yeah.
brainstorm what we're doing.
Can you come and maybe to your board meeting or something?
Yeah, because our partner is on the airport commission. Ken Hendrick. Ken Hendrick.
What city does he represent?
Palm Springs. He's on Palm Springs PSP airport commission.
Did he replace Samantha? Samantha, she's the chair.
Okay, I don't know.
Yeah, okay, cool.
He was on it for 5 years, and I guess he timed out.
Okay.
So he was off it for a year, and then they asked him to come back because there was so much to do.
And we have a booth at Village Fest. I was in
do?
January. I had to take time off since January.
Oh,
because,
I have to stop by.
Yeah, we're taking a little break, but probably we're gonna do a couple times a month. So yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, I would love to help promote you guys too, and let also like our volunteers.
Yeah, and I said,
And I do a lot with, I'm a volunteer at the USO, but I also partner with the USO.
Okay, yeah.
Down at the base and up here.
I talked with them briefly a couple times about it, but I haven't been in to follow up, and it was on my list. So
No, but if I can help you, let me know.
if you look on our website too, for JCPC.org, go down to the very bottom and click on Sandbox, and that'll show you our new website. I'm still building it, but it's going to be super cool, and it's going to allow different organizations to have their own login. They can write blog posts, share their updates. It's very much like it's like a chamber website page.
Okay,
So I'm almost there. You know, my problem is I'm needing I need $2,000 to pay licensing fees. I have some stuff in the works, but I'm not getting any sponsors, any public funds yet. But I do have commitments from Desert Hot Springs, India, Casella, and Palm Springs. So it's coming, but not till August. So 29 Palms really doesn't want to, you know, it's yeah.
But Palm Springs for sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, let me give you some. So,
Great to meet
really
you.
great to meet you.
Yes.
So,
I will be in touch with you.
this is Jacqueline. Her husband's on the base. Who's the guy that's doing that?
29 USP.
Yeah, right, the rider. Number, yeah. Oh, yes. And she lived down the hill. And our offices are at the block, right above Estelle. So, you know, I'm not going to be out there much this month in June. No. We're going to, once we start Village Fest again, you know, definitely we're going to be doing more down there.
Okay, keep me posted.
Cool.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, I'm so tired. Hey,
You should stop hijacking my meetings. I was just playing with you.
Carlos, how are you?
I love that passport.
What's that?
I love the passport.
It's close. I have the samples. I don't know where I put it.
I know, but it's
I
fine.
just got back from Palm Springs like 30 minutes.
Big fan of geocaching.
Yeah.
Avenza, you can make a geo reference map and reference it in QR labels. Avenza maps.
Yeah. The new. If you go to our website, our current one, just go to the very, very bottom on the footer, and click on Sandbox, and you'll be able to see our new website. It's partially functional. You can share stuff to Twitter, LinkedIn, you know, everything.
Sandbox is the platform you're running out of.
It's off Brilliant Directories. And I'm working with the people that are going to be doing the Yucca Brevifolia magazine, Carlos over at Carlos and Lisa. So,
Yeah, I'll look at it.
yeah.
One step at a time.
And I would love you to help me like beta test it, and you'll be able to I can put it on like as a blog, you know, whatever you want to do. I know you're not an engineer. You got a lot to say.
I'll let you know. I'm not even on the map.
Well, I'm leaving.
No, we get it.
I'm out. I'm going out. Yeah, I'm done.
You got a lot on your plate.
Yeah.
But I'll let you know. Yeah. Shoot me an email.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Here we go. Everyone ready? Everyone back from their breaks? All right, call this meeting to order. Let's see, Mr. Melendez, you lead us in the pledge? Is you already standing?
I'll do like Thomas style. Ready, begin.
Yeah.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Leanne, yes. Like to remain standing, Ms. Leanne Clark.
Let us bow our heads. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this evening. We thank you for this opportunity of coming together to unite as a community with our city council to make decisions that are important for our community. We thank you for the open hearts here tonight. We thank you for respect on both sides. And we thank you, Lord, for a productive meeting tonight that is going to really allow everyone as they leave tonight to feel that this was a great meeting and that we are moving forward in our community. Father, we also lift up our servicemen and women as we recognized Memorial Day yesterday. We thank you for their lives and the sacrifice because it's allowed us to be here tonight. And also we thank you for our free press, our community, and we thank you for this beautiful city of 29 Palms. And we again thank you for this building, the staff, and all the people here, their businesses, their organizations, and we thank you for their families and all their contribution to our community. And we also pray for our students as they will be ending school on June 6th. We pray for protection over them, that it's a safe graduation. We thank you for the promotions that are taking place, and we thank you for the future of our students here in serving our community in the city of 29 Palms. We give you the glory and honor in Jesus' precious name. We pray, amen.
Roll call.
Councilwoman Ramirez,
Here.
Councilmember Scott,
Here.
Councilmember Wright,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Mintz,
Here.
Mayor Bildering.
Here.
All present.
No closed session announcements. Change to the agenda. Yes, the public comment, you'll see it's at the front, not the back. Just a mix-up, so be prepared to talk quick, or not quick, but sooner than later. Was it at the end still? Or are we gonna move it? Okay, we're gonna move to the end, so you gotta stay for the whole thing. All right. After future initiated items. All right, do we need to explain 12? Online? Okay, moving on. Announcements. These proceedings may be viewed on demand of City 29 Palms website, www.29palms.org. You may also live stream this meeting by going on our website and clicking on meeting agendas link. Awards, presentations, appointments, and proclamations. Presentation to City 29 Palms School TASHA Club for their participation in the Cash for Trash Recycle program.
Hi, sir. So first, would you like to explain your acronym for the TASHA program?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Emil Escobar. So TASHA stands for Teens Against Sexual Harassment and Assault. I'm actually the president. I've been president for 2 years now. It's my senior year, actually, so I'm going to retire soon. And I can't wait to see what the club becomes when I'm gone. And I'm proud to have been here. And thank you to everyone in this room. I've kind of become familiar with some of you because I've been here a couple of times. So thank you again.
And where did you pick up trash at?
Ooh, it was actually somewhere near like Ocotillo and then something Cactus. I was like low-key lost when I tried driving to it, but we found it, so.
Okay, well, great. Well, the City of 29 Palms would like to give you $300 for your club.
Thank you.
And Burtech would also like to contribute $300 to your club.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Thanks.
Picture? We taking pictures? Cindy, we taking pictures? Okay. Hey, you have your speech ready for Friday?
I do.
All right.
I get no picture?
No picture. Does that never happen?
I know, never happened.
That's the only one we have. All right. Ready to move on? Presentation by Mr. Shane. I mess up your name every time, man. But Government Relations Manager, Local Public Affairs, Southern California, Edison.
It's all good, Mayor. It's Moussad. It's all right. It's all good. It's all good. Well, good evening, Honorable Mayor, City Council. Again, my name is Shane Moussad. I'm the Government Relations Manager with Southern California Edison. Thank you for the opportunity. Oh, thanks. Okay, thank you. Once again, thank you for the opportunity for allowing us to be here to come and participate in your City Council meeting and to address some of the grid upgrades that have been taking place here in your community. Tonight, before I get started, I did want to introduce a few of my colleagues that I have here with me. I have Amber Wright. She's the Southern California District Manager for Southern California Edison, so her territory covers all of the Morongo Basin. She's really in charge of a lot of the daily operations on behalf of the company. And then I also have David Elias with me. He's our Regional Construction Manager, so he oversees the execution of work by our third-party vendor throughout our service territory. For tonight's presentation, I'll be providing a quick overview of who SCE is. I'll be talking about our outage communication and preparedness, what resources we offer our customers, as well as the grid hardening efforts that are taking place here in the community. Should I point at the screen or? Oh, there you go. Okay, all right. No, it's okay, no worries. Like most of you, I think on a monthly basis, as I'm reminded, I think you're all reminded on who Southern California Edison is when you receive your bill, but there is a little bit more to our company. So I wanted just to provide a couple of those details. We are one of the nation's largest electrical utility providers. We're regulated by the California Public Utilities Commission, as well as the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. That's a little different than most business models when you have that kind of state and federal involvement in your day-to-day operations. Here in this map, this highlights our service territory. This is approximately 50,000 square miles, which covers the areas of central, coastal, and southern California. And then we also provide service for approximately 15 million residents throughout 15 counties, 185 cities, and 13 Native American tribes. Next slide, thank you. So in order for us to deliver power safely, reliably, and affordably to all these customers, SCE monitors and maintains a vast electrical system. So here I just wanted to point out some statistics. So throughout that 50,000 square miles, we have approximately 5,900 circuits, 1.7 million poles, about 126,000 miles of transmission and distribution lines. The transmission are usually the larger towers you see on the steel frames. The distribution poles or network is what you see throughout your neighborhood. 750,000 transformers. A lot of those of you are familiar with those. You see them on your utility pole. They kind of look like a trash can. And then about 800 plus substations. This diagram here is just an opportunity to illustrate kind of the vastity of the network in terms of the volume of power that's being delivered throughout the service territory, as well as how do we step down that power. So at the end of the day, it's consumable by either a residential customer, a business customer, or whatever industry they may be in. Okay. So with such a vast network of infrastructure, continuing to strengthen and modernizing the grid is the top priority. SCE plans to spend more than $5 billion each year to maintain, improve, and harden its infrastructure. For tonight's discussion, I really broke those up into kind of 5 broad categories. So we have infrastructure reliability. This is updating underground cables, poles, wires throughout our service territory. Wildfire mitigation. This is hardening our infrastructure, bolstering our situational awareness, enhancing operational practices to mitigate potential ignition from our equipment. Previously, I showed you a map of our service territory. About 30% of that service territory is within high fire tier 2 and tier 3. So significant priority for the company to reduce any kind of ignition point. Transmission, which is connecting renewables, installing new substations, updating lines, grid readiness, that's getting the grid ready for new technologies, and then long-term energy policy, which really focuses on energy storage, electrical vehicles, and renewable energy. Here, just on the left-hand side, or excuse me, the right-hand side, is just some of the capital improvement or capital investment and some of the milestones we've achieved. For example, 112 miles of overhead conductor replaced, 13,000 distribution poles, 2,500 transmission poles replaced. Okay. So with all that work in mind, that takes us to the next phase of my presentation is outages. So as you can tell, there's a lot going on. When we have $5 billion worth of investment taking place throughout the service territory, to safely perform this critical work required to maintain and upgrade the electrical grid, SCE must occasionally de-energize certain areas resulting in temporary outages. To try to simplify that process, I did break down our outage types into 5 different types of outages. So we have our maintenance outages, which many of you are familiar with. That's probably a significant portion of our work. This is when SCE turns off your power to perform critical maintenance or upgrades. We have repair outages. These are unplanned and are caused unexpectedly. For example, a car hit pole. Again, it's an unpredictable event with no advance notice. Similar to that is an emergency outage. This is an instance where we may take an outage because equipment is failing, or we know of equipment that is about to fail, so we'll take that outage on an emergency basis to do that repair, hopefully in an effort to avoid a prolonged outage. We have our public safety power shutoff. This is a tool of last resort and is implemented during extreme weather events. So that's usually during significant winds, low humidity, dry vegetation. And then we have our public agency outages. These are initiated by our first responders when SCE's facilities could pose a danger to our public safety partners' work. So some of the common repair outages here are highlighted. I won't go through all of them, but for example, as simple as birds or animals getting into our equipment is one. Also heavy rains, so flash flooding, which could flood our vaults. Those are the underground, some of our underground infrastructure, washing out poles, overloaded equipment during the summer months, vandalism, and again, car hit pole. And I would like just to play a video that just kind of highlights again this outage process and the notifications. Will it play on your end or? Do you mind playing the video, Cindy? Thank you. I would say nine times out of 10, the reason a customer does not receive a notification about a planned outage for our maintenance work is because contact information is not accurate. So that's something I just wanted to highlight very quickly in our presentation about how a customer could go about updating their contact information. It's real simple. You would just log into your account, click on your profile settings. From there, you proceed forward to the preference center, and then you would select how you would like to receive your notifications, whether that's email, text, by mail, or even a phone call. And it's that simple. And then moving forward, I did want to mention just a couple preparedness tips. I think this community and across the Morongo Basin, I know emergency preparedness is always key. We like to take that mentality of emergency preparedness and simplify that even to just a planned maintenance outage as that work. So one of the things is learn if your family is eligible for our medical baseline or critical care backup battery program. For SE's medical baseline program, it's designed to support customers who rely on electricity powered medical equipment. Again, that's as simple as going in online and registering for that. The critical care backup battery program, that offers a free portable backup battery for eligible customers who, one, are enrolled in our medical baseline program, two, live in a high fire risk area, and then three, depend on electricity to power their medical devices. Additionally, it's also important, to have key contacts readily available. Things that operate manually, rely on electricity, for example, like a garage door, any type of equipment like that. It's important to know how to operate without power. Additionally, familiarize yourself with your home's utility box, how to turn it on and off. Consult with a licensed electrician before you install a home generator. That's really important because if there is an outage or if there's an emergency repair, we don't want that generator actually backfeeding onto the system, which could then put our crews in jeopardy, because on our side it will look like the power's off, but the generator could be backfeeding the system and cause some harm. And then briefly, it was discussed in the video, but I also want to highlight our outage map. This is a great resource. Again, you can look up an outage specific to your home, whether you just type in your address, the map will look it up. If there's an emergency outage, you can look that up. The video referenced your outage number. You can look up an outage based on that. This map will provide you real-time service, or a real-time feed of what's taking place in terms of where crews are, if they're on their way, if they're investigating. It'll also provide just a brief explanation as to why it may say failure of equipment, it may say planned work. There is about a 30-minute delay time in those being updated, give or take. So just wanted to preference that. Okay, now moving on and bringing things a little bit closer to home, let's talk about some of the grid upgrades we've been doing. So as we discuss our grid investments here in the community, you'll notice a common theme. We are upgrading our equipment to enhance safety, improve reliability, and strengthen the resiliency of the electrical system. I wanted just to start this conversation with just providing you with an overview of all of the circuits here within your community. There's about 12 different circuits that feed the 29 Palms area. A lot of us just see poles and wires, not really realizing what they are, but these are actually all named circuits. They provide power to specifically defined areas of the community, and so I thought that would be important to highlight. One of the projects that we're proud of and we just recently completed is our Old Dale circuit upgrade. The Old Dale was a 4.8 kV circuit. We converted that, or what we call cutover, to a 12 kV, which from our perspective was a strategical infrastructure upgrade aimed at enhancing reliability and operational flexibility to the local distribution system. Previously, the 4.8 kV circuit operated in isolation. So what I mean by that is it lacked the ability to tie into any of the adjacent circuits that I previously showed on the other slide. So because of that limitation, this significantly increased outage duration for customers during system faults or maintenance events. The upgrade represents a critical step in modernizing here the local grid and delivering more resilient services to our customer by eliminating this 4.8 kV. So here on the bottom, this picture, that's the Old Dale circuit. That entire circuit's been upgraded to now 12 kV, which you'll see a significant difference in reliability again for the customers. Some of the key benefits, again, are to improve reliability, enhance operational flexibility, and standardization. The next project I want to talk about that you'll start to see here is the 29 Palms substation expansion. This is right here on Adobe Road, just a couple blocks down from City Hall. The purpose of this project is to modernize aging infrastructure to improve reliability, again, operational flexibility, and long-term capacity, as well as enhancing performance and reducing the risk of outage and equipment failure. Some of the scope of work will involve rebuilding the switch rack with a modern and standardized configuration. For those of you who aren't familiar with a switch rack, what this references is it's a structural framework within the substation that essentially supports and organizes the energized electrical equipment. We'll be replacing old, aging equipment with newer, more reliable components, reconfigure the substation layout for future expansion, upgrade circuits and transformers, and again, increase the overall size and capacity of the substation. And one other project that I wanted to highlight is also our grid automation upgrades that will be taking place throughout not only 29 Palms, but throughout our entire service territory. So again, this is to enhance grid reliability, flexibility, and responsiveness by installing and upgrading automated equipment. Some of the benefits and scope of work. The scope of work is install advanced automation devices and telemetry systems. This will result in improved sectionalization and fault isolation. So what I mean by that is our system will be more advanced in having the ability to actually isolate the outage, limiting the scope and impact when those instances occur, not only during unexpected or repair outages, but also for the planned outages. Again, some of the key benefits are reducing outage impact, operational flexibility, and future readiness for infrastructure improvements throughout the community. Finally, I'd like to conclude with just a slide here that really provides all of the resources for our customers. I'm going to leave this slide up here for just a moment so people can take a picture. These are all publicly available resources for our customers. I thought it would be important to highlight this because we're not just a utility provider that's providing you electricity, but we also have an abundance of resources. Like I highlighted in our medical baseline, our critical care backup program. We have resources for our access and functional needs. Vegetation management, for those of you who maybe have concerns with vegetation growing near our infrastructure, you can visit that website. You can also always reach out to safetrees@se.com. That's an email address available to you. There's preparedness tips, situational awareness, and so much more. So with that, I'd like to thank you. Appreciate you giving me the time. And happy to take any of your questions.
Questions, council?
Thank you very
Actually,
much.
Jane, you answered, I'm sorry, go
You
ahead.
got it.
Oh, you answered one of the biggest questions. When we had some of those outages, people were like, well, we never got notified, and it's right on your website. You just have to go there. It's very simple to go on the website and sign up for it. You can get it through email or text message. So I would encourage everyone, if you have not signed up for the, so they'll let you know if it is an emergency, they'll ding your phone or your computer. So do sign up for that.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you very much. You mentioned the substation over on Adobe for future upgrading. There's a building over there that you guys own. Is that also going to be part of that expansion?
At this point in time, that building will remain there. We've done some removing. There was I believe, an old parking kind of structure for vehicles on site. But at this point in time, that building will remain.
Thank you.
I just had a question. When you said about a public safety outage, like high winds, does that mean if we have high winds, you actually turn the power off?
Yeah, so our public safety power shut off. So that's the program. It's PSPS. This is a program that was approved by the California Public Utilities Commission in 2012. So essentially what this allows us to do is when the winds are met at a certain threshold, again, there has to be dry vegetation, low humidity, we will proactively shut the power off in high fire areas. Now, the city of 29 Palms is not considered a high fire areas. You have to forgive me, I haven't looked at the updated fire zone mapping. So I'm not sure if you guys have seen some adjustments within those fields. But essentially that is what the program is.
So mainly for high fire areas?
Correct.
Okay.
Public, any questions?
Question. Is it a legal mandate by the density of people here, or the minimum to be a 12 kV no matter what? That's why the investment was made, not just because you felt it was needed?
Yeah, I mean, it's a new standard of operating for us. Again, because the 4 kV is so antiquated, it's not something that we're seeing anymore commonly across our service territory and our network. And so we are upgrading everything up to 12 kV for more reliability. That allows our customers, as they pursue electrification, that's going to meet those demands because there's more power on the system.
You outlined 3 projects, but you didn't, and you talked about outages, but you didn't connect the projects to outages. What outages can the residents of 29 Palms expect this summer from these projects?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the first project, the Old Dale, that's complete. So there are no more outages necessary for that. But I would like to preface that with there are always emergency situations. So something could happen and there could be an outage because of, like I said, a car hit pole. Well, the substation project, that project is going to start later this summer. I don't have details on when those outages will begin to take place. I would like to highlight that a lot. Huh?
Can you supply them to the city council?
Yeah, happy to work in coordination with the city manager. If there's anything of significant impact, one of the outreach efforts we do, again, this is all about making sure your information is updated, is we'll actually send out a Dear Neighbor letter about 14 days in advance. You'll receive a Dear Neighbor letter. It's a little bit more extensive than just the text notification that you receive, kind of articulating the work that you'll see in the upcoming months, why we're doing it. So hopefully that answers your question. But again, I would just recommend that you make sure your information is up to date.
All right. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Right, number 3, grant funding agreement presentation.
Yeah, I know, right? No, I don't have a PowerPoint presentation. Well, good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members, members of this community. So tonight I'll be discussing a new grant monitoring process that Finance has put in place to basically enhance the transparency, accountability of city-funded programs. So throughout the years, the city has provided financial assistance to various organizations like nonprofits, businesses, and other governmental agencies, for events or programs that align with the city's goals and mission. In addition to the processes already in place, which include requesting a copy of the invoice and a W-9 from the grant recipients, we are requesting fund recipients to sign and agree to the covenants outlined in the grant agreement that was attached to the agenda presentation. And so all of the covenants and the agreement are important, but I would like to highlight key requirements. One of those are the use of the grant funds. With few exceptions, the funds shouldn't be used for personal expenses, operating, something like going to Starbucks. That's not what we want, what the city wants to fund, right? Operating and administrative costs, salaries, benefits. So, when I'm talking about this is we want to fund a program, not a person. So there are a few exceptions, kind of like the one that we recently funded for the church. They needed to cover utility costs, so that was an exception. So things like that can happen. Again, there's not for personal salaries, benefits, or any unrelated activities that were not previously approved in the grant application. Then the standing of the recipient. So as part of that, once we get notification from the department that someone's going to be awarded a grant, Finance is going to review and check in the state's website and franchise tax board to see if the recipient is in good standing. If they're not in good standing, then they're not going to be awarded the funds. Project period of performance. So there should be a time frame in the recipient's grant application, and so the funds should be expended and the project should be expended within that time frame, and not to exceed 6 months after the completion of the project. The reimbursement of the funds. So that if there were any funds that were not spent for that program, the recipient must reimburse them to the city. There's also going to be insurance requirements. Depending on the program or event, there might be some insurance requirements there. Performance report. This is more to assess the effectiveness of that program or agreement, of that program or event. So what we want to see is a 2 to 3 page report from the recipient detailing how the funds were expended, how many people showed up to the event or the program, how many members of the community were served, things like that. So again, with that, we just want to see how the performance that was used to measure the program or event's success. Financial report, so that would be a detailed report listing all of the expenses that were done. What we want to see is an itemized list. What does that include? When was the purchase done? How much was it paid? Who was it paid to? Invoice or receipt number, and how was it paid? Cash, check, things like that. Let me see. the retention of records. So the recipients must keep any grant-related expenditure documents for 3 years. The last thing that I would like to mention, that any failure to comply with the requirements could result in the recipient not being eligible for future funding consideration. And again, this is more to enhance, transparency, accountability. We already do that for, grants that we receive, so we want to make sure that we also put this in place for the grants that we actually award as a city. And I'm happy to answer any questions that the council may have.
Council questions? Is you ready right here? Public? Anything from the public?
Yeah, Abigail, I have a question on, we have grants that are coming out of 3 different pools, I guess. Well, Parks and Rec does one, what we're doing today, I think they have, I'm not sure if that's one fund, Tourism Board, and PAC. And, I don't want there to be any confusion. I know I've been critical of the Tourism Board grant process, and it's not that I don't support the events. Like, I'm wearing it at the Desert Fringe event, which was a fantastic event. And we're working on these for JTGCA, that's why I took it down. But anyways, I appreciate, we talked about the warrant register. You got that for me for the T-bid thing. It was a very simple thing. You got it to me. I think it's great. It's transparent. I do have some offline questions to talk to you about. But I would really appreciate it if we could standardize it across all 3 and kind of make it independent. So it's not, you're not putting the burden on, say, Carrie, Brianne, and whoever would do the other one to kind of do we need to be able to see how these funds are being used and
Right.
whether we're being accountable and fiscally responsible. So I appreciate your effort with this.
Thank you. Yeah, and so, this grant agreement would apply to all of the funds, all of the grants that the city, all of the programs that the city funds, PAC, TIBID, city. So,
It's like
and
a standard way you can look at it and we can compare things.
yes. And I'm currently working on just putting a couple of templates together. I kind of wanted to have recipients flexibility to show me, to show what they can put together, but I can definitely put some templates together as far as the performance report and the financial report, just for reference. But of course, there's also flexibility, if they have, something that they're already working on. I don't want them to recreate the wheel if they already have, if the recipient already has something in place that can show exactly what we're asking for. Yes.
So with the different granting bodies that we have with the city, again, it relates to what you were saying and what the PAC just went through. Can we standardize the rubric that is being used for grants across all of these granting bodies?
Rubric as in how they're assessed.
Have an application, what are the criteria? Because one of the rubrics they've worked for before, if their name and the project name is on the application, they get 5 points. I'm like, you get a brownie for that, not a point to get public money.
Yeah.
Can we all have a standard rubric of criteria? For example, cost per attendee, demographics served, these kinds of things. Like, is there maybe something that's standardized across TBED, Parks and Rec, PAC, and then I don't know what other granting bodies we have, so that we individually don't have our own rubrics?
I can definitely look into that. This is more of the finance role of overseeing after the grant has been awarded. I think what you're talking about is how do we evaluate the grant and how do we...
Asking almost has to come back to be what we also then ask in the process from applicants. If we have to respond, if we and they have to respond to those at the end, then it sounds like those have to be the scoring rubric to start with.
I'm not really looking for, I'm not grading the grant recipients when I'm looking at the performance reports. I'm not grading the, no, I'm just
I
looking
think-
to see what the recipient did with the funds. That's it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
two different things.
Yeah.
I think
it's
that's
not.
I think that's a policy issue that the city council could actually look at in the future. But I think that that's separate from what Abigail is speaking
Correct.
of.
I think it could be like an overlap because there are different core components of it that won't necessarily widen the doors over the pack, but there are key rubrics in it, like as far as effectiveness, a scale, something that we could use, that you know what I'm saying, because they all, tourism, art,
All right, we're moving. This is not a group discussion. All right, here we go. Before we go, Miss Gill and Miss Harper, it says 3 on here. You guys want to say something on this? Okay. You turned this in, so. Yeah.
Thank you. Good evening, City Council. This is Miss Abigail. Question I wanted to ask you about the grant. You said about the insurance. So this is for the women of color in Juneteenth. You already paid for the insurance, so are you gonna take the insurance out each time when we apply for a grant?
Well, your insurance in particular is every time you do the event.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's not a one-time thing. Like, every time you do the event, you have to do a renewal of the insurance.
We don't even do it though. That's the whole thing. The Park and Rec takes care of the insurance. So are you saying that we have to do it now?
Oh, no.
Oh.
Yours is different. Like, we already purchased the insurance, and the insurance was purchased through the funds that we were supposed to give you. So we just deducted
Oh.
the insurance from the $2,500 that was supposed to go to you. So you don't need to repurchase another insurance.
But I'm saying like next year, you'll just keep you'll just keep getting the insurance.
Yeah, and
Okay.
if you get the grant again, then each year, I can't speak for what's gonna happen next year.
Okay, well, let me ask the council.
So
Is
Ms.
anything
Williams,
gonna change?
I think I can provide a little.
This can't speak on that. It's not on the agenda.
Oh, got you. Got you. Thank
Yeah.
you. Okay.
But please bring that conversation up before next year, so we're not doing it at the 12th hour trying to figure this out.
Gotcha.
Yes. Yeah, she's good this year, yeah. Ms. Gill? All the way to the podium, please.
Comment, question. It felt like two different animals, but I'll just shout at the microphone directly to you.
Mm-hmm.
Insurance coverage has to begin upon receipt of the grant through the end of the event. Is that the case?
It depends on the
Okay.
event and the program.
All right, great.
There are things that, for example, when we funded the utility, the church, or this utility, is like, there's no insurance requirement. So it just depends.
For single day or a weekend long event, if the event itself is insured, the policy doesn't have to last through the entire planning period. Is that correct? Okay, great. Thank you. That's very helpful clarification, and I appreciate it. I did want to make a brief comment about this agreement since it's focused on recipients, which is kind of the end of the line. But I do think focusing on the starting line would benefit the city, the council, and our citizens. Support from council and staff would be a huge asset to those who allocate grants in our community. Some committees that are tasked with allocating grants have experienced significant turnover and don't have the institutional knowledge to easily and smoothly lead a successful process. And wherever possible, city staff should help guide those committees toward a well-structured, transparent process. Just attending meetings recently, I've seen some examples where it would have been helpful to offer a little more guidance in time, however is appropriate or allowable. That support is invaluable and would really save time on the back end cleaning up messes that didn't have to be made in the first place. There are also cases where groups do have consistent leadership and deep institutional knowledge, but have not addressed longstanding issues in grant allocation processes, specifically TBID. Years of experience in leadership there, which I'm very thankful for. That is a difficult position, and it does take a lot of time. But there have been several rounds of funding to successfully build the system, and there are errors in the application process that haven't been addressed, and inconsistencies in scoring applications. Specifically, in this last round of funding, without calling out the recipient, because the event is awesome, a $20,000 grant was allocated to an event that doesn't occur in 29 Palms. When asked about the impact not receiving that grant would have for this event, producers answered none. Notes from the review committee on that application refer to it as a model for other applicants. That is concerning and something that if we catch beforehand, then we don't have to ask Abigail to chase down a significant chunk of money from an event because it doesn't follow basic guidelines. Can you even do that per this agreement? It just feels like we're starting at the end when the beginning still needs help and attention. Yeah, there are issues I think this council would benefit from addressing at the beginning of the story before we move to the end. But I do think, Abigail, this agreement is very helpful. As producers, everything that can be clarified is super useful. Thank you.
Thank you. Did you want to say something? No? All right. Thank you. Number 4, presentation from the Community Events Grant recipient, Friends of the 29 Palms Library, providing a report on the Morongo Basin Spell-A-Thon event.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. It's great to be here, and thank you for the opportunity for me to personally and publicly thank you for the $1,000 award that you gave us through your funding. In partnership with the 3 Morongo Basin libraries, this year marked the 4th annual Spell-A-Thon event, an exciting spelling bee style competition for both children and adults. Our goals, our main ones this year, were to increase the number of participating teams, boost audience attendance, and raise funds to support non-county funded library programs. Our results, we were very proud to share that we were successful in achieving all our goals. We increased our number of participating teams to 12. Last year we had 8. We expanded our marketing outreach, and we raised $6,425 to benefit the Morongo Basin community. That means each library gets a little over $2,000 apiece. These funds directly support vital library programs now covered by the county funding, including the summer reading program, Read Across America, and various literacy initiatives throughout the basin. Our total budget consisted of the $1,000 that we received from the city, thank you very much, and $200 per each library for startup money. Expenses covered included website updates, signage, prizes, raffle materials, permits, printing, supplies, and marketing. To maximize visibility, we utilized social media, Facebook and Instagram, local newspapers, word-of-mouth promotion, weekly presence at the 29 Palms Farmers Market, and a radio interview at Z1077. So with our feedbacks and improvement, we received overwhelmingly positive feedback. Online registration made participation easier. Sponsors increased compared to previous years. One challenge we did have was the venue at the Activities Park and Lucky Park Activity Center. The acoustics was a little difficult for our pronouncer at times. Mainly if we had people sort of whispering in the back, it sounded like they were shouting. So we would reconsider that maybe next time. In conclusion, next year we are targeting school-age children by offering cash prizes to encourage their participation. This aligns with the success we saw this year, where the winning team included an 11-year-old. It was so exciting. She came into the library and asked about it, and she just pursued it. She texted me, she called me. I never met that mother until the event. It was really impressive. She's a homeschooler, and she looks forward to participating again next year. It's exactly the kind of engagement we hope to foster moving forward. In keeping with our rotation plan, we will be hosting the event in Yucca Valley next year with the goal of achieving the same level of success and community benefit. The Spell-A-Thon of 2025 was a great success thanks to the dedication of our partners, participants, sponsors, and the community. And we look forward to making next year's event even better. And I would love to entertain any questions you might have.
Council? Questions? Public? No? All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much again. It's a pleasure seeing you.
Thank you. All right, number 5, presentation from the Community Events Grant recipient, Military Veterans Project, providing a report from There to Here Military and Veteran Expressions event.
Good evening, City Council members and patrons of 29 Palms. Hello, my name is Cheryl Montel, and I'm the founder and co-executive director of Miltree. I just want to let you know that you have a PowerPoint. I'm not putting it up there because it was easier for me to talk from my notes. So, okay. So on behalf of everyone at Miltree, we extend our heartfelt appreciation to 29 Palms and all the City Council members for the 2024-25 Community Event Grant, helping to fund From There to Here, an exhibit of military art and words curated by United States Air Force veteran Omar Columbus. This powerful exhibition featured visual art and written reflections by 16 veterans or family members, providing a platform to express the emotional transitions of military life. Held at the 29 Palms Visitor Center from October 4th to December 31st, 2024, the exhibit used art as a bridge for communication, connection, and healing. Alongside with your generous grant, we also received support from the California Humanities Foundation and the local Public Arts Advisory Committee. And we were not only able to realize the exhibit itself, but also expanded it to include meaningful community programming. These public events created additional opportunities for dialogue and creative expression around the exhibit's core theme. The following programs that were made possible by your support were a writing workshop led by Marine veteran Renee Pickup, exploring the theme From There to Here, an artist panel discussion led by military spouse and artist Danielle Giudici Wallace, now our co-executive director, and this provided insights into each artist's inspiration and process. We had an art workshop, which was mask making, facilitated by military spouse, filmmaker, and artist Cheryl Bookout, and a film screening of Sheepdogs, a documentary by Brian Miller, featuring the recovery journeys of 4 local Marine and Navy veterans, produced by Meyer and Stump. Miltree remains dedicated to fostering engagement between the military and civilian communities to help reduce isolation and build understanding. This exhibit and its related programs did exactly that, bringing people together, sparking creative expression in a perfect communal space, the 29 Palms Visitor Center, where they experience connection and healing right here in 29 Palms. So the opening reception was October 4th from 5:30 to 8 p.m., and it was at the Visitor Center. And again, we had 16 veterans, our military family artists, painting, drawing, sculpture. There was also a spoken word component, and that was 4 different veterans: Omar Columbus, Francisco Fernandez, Herman Plotsky, and Pat Wallace. We had a United States Marine Corps veteran, DJ Devil Dog, otherwise known as Brian Huguez, and catering by Chef Zara Khan, a local caterer, Epicurean Fling. In terms of attendance, we estimated attendance at about 200 to 230, and the breakdown is the opening reception had at least 62 people, the artist talk and panel had 10, the writing workshop 18, the art workshop 12, the film screening 26, and general exhibit visitors approximately 100. Miltree's goal for this project was to foster engagement between military and civilian communities in creative and meaningful formats, and the impact From There to Here sparked connection, healing, and understanding, and provided a space for expression and dialogue, and it reached an audience across the Morongo Basin, San Diego, LA, and beyond. So that's all I wrote, but what I wanted to do is end this with our video, which documents the exhibit and the events. This was the discussion, the artists panel. We had a writing retreat, and I forgot to take pictures. Sorry. This is our board president, Pat Wallace. I just thought that would tell it the best. So if you have any questions, I'm here to answer them, hopefully.
Council? No? Public? No?
I just want to recognize, Cheryl, I remember when you came when we first started the DBA, and back then I was so busy with properties, I couldn't go to a lot of your events, but now that I don't have that mess to worry about, I still haven't made it to a few of them, but you do such good work across all three areas here, and I think, what you do is tremendous.
Thank you. We're small, but we're mighty. And again, thank you so much, city council members and the, the city of 29 Palms. We really had a wonderful time doing this. It was really meaningful. So thank you so much.
Thank you. And I know me and Octavius, their grand opening night of their first night, and we saw all the crowd there. Some of those artwork kind of hit home.
Yeah.
So
very beautiful.
And I'm sorry, I should have introduced our board president, Pat Wallace. He is a major support and a writer and an artist and everything else. So anyway,
all right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, I gotta move that out of the way. Council comments, reports, and meetings attended. Councilwoman Ramirez.
Don't get mad at me because I don't remember the new name of it. But I did attend the community cleanup that was organized by Councilman Scott at the Starlight Neighborhood. Okay. I also attended the San Bernardino East County Regional Steering Committee meeting. I met with a few members of Congress about bringing a VA rural health care clinic branch here to 29 Palms. I also met with the LabCorp representative for this area to also discuss bringing a LabCorp facility here to 29 Palms. We have a follow-up appointment with the executive director in 2 weeks. And I met with 4 small business owners to discuss challenges that they're facing with either opening or expanding their businesses. And I attempted to meet with a couple of the TBID members to discuss our city's involvement in the Joshua Tree Music Festival, but unfortunately did not receive a response. One more thing, really quick, sorry. I just wanted to highlight the fact that May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and I wanted to use my platform to remind everybody that it's okay not to be okay, and that there's services out there. You matter, you are loved, and we, as long as we can rely on each other, we can get through it one day at a time. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Scott?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I did attend the Starlight Neighborhood Cleanup. I thought it was a huge success, and I just want to thank all of my colleagues on council for their support. Some were able to attend, some were able to donate, and some were able to get the word out, and I thought that was a great, it was just a great feeling. And we did our Toastmasters meeting, and we inducted our new officers. So We now have a full board for Toastmasters, and it's a really great thing for the community to learn leadership development, public speaking, and so, you know, some people are actually having their companies actually pay for the membership. And so if you think that this is something that you that would benefit you in your career, definitely reach out to your company or organization to see if they can help fund your participation. I also had the opportunity and the privilege to lay a wreath at the cemetery here, the Twentynine Palms Public Cemetery, for Memorial Day. And I think that, and I had a couple of meetings with constituents and the city manager.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Wright?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, I want to wish everybody a happy birthday for the month of May, and a special shout out to a little girl that turned 9 today, Bella. And I won't give her last name because she's a minor. And then also I attended the JPA, Joint Powers Authority meeting in Victorville, talking about trash in 1383. So anyway, and also I attended the Hall of Fame event for our Mayor Pro Tem, Danny Mintz. Got inducted into the Twentynine Palms Hall of Fame, so that was pretty awesome. And we did get to take a picture too. Yeah, I did. And I also stopped by Councilmember Scott's cleanup, but I didn't have my hat, so I didn't stay. It was too hot. Can't get sunburn on the head. I ain't gonna have no protection up there. So, and that's it. Thanks, Mr. Mayor.
Yep. Mayor Pro Tem Mintz?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I attended the final youth council meeting on that last Wednesday. That's a pretty good little group that's going on, and they're encouraged about the next group that's coming in. So hopefully more people will apply. I have to check with Park Rec to see if there's still applicants available. I had a Basin Transit meeting that Mac also attended. Just where we bought some programs to modernize the buses more so they can know where the buses are more efficient. They gave us a demonstration of it at a finger, and now they can trace like 11,000 routes just by looking at it. So it's gonna really help with their efficiency. I'd also like to congratulate the high school's baseball team. They went to the quarterfinals in baseball. The track had, I believe, 3 or 4 of their athletes went to CIF. And the boys tennis team also had a CIF run, so congratulations to those. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Let's see, I attended the Personnel Committee meeting, had a meeting with the Personnel Committee, Budget Committee, had another meeting with them. I went to the high school awards for the high school, the seniors that are leaving, and some of the juniors too, again, some academic and athletic awards. A lot of scholarships went out, so that's good to see that our kids are furthering their education after high school. What else we had? Went to the Mayor Pro Tem's Hall of Fame induction, and he's all smiles up there. His whole family flew in for it, so made sure they got a picture together, and I wasn't involved, so that's good. I know. Yeah, so I want to make sure you got your flowers. I went to the high school playoff game, and watching our boys go at it, it was good to see that our little town fighting the big city. It just came down one run, last inning. So went 7 innings, so it wasn't a blowout. So kudos to our boys. Can't wait for next season. Let's see. I want to say thank you to the volunteers, some of the staff, and the city manager for the situation we had 17th to the 19th. It was ongoing, 24 on, 24 off for some of us. And I think we did a fantastic job handling the situation with the input and information we were receiving and trying to get it back to citizens. And our ultimate goal was to keep people informed as much as possible, safe, and hopefully the situation wasn't as big as it could have been. So I want to thank all the staff, because I know it was after hours, phone calls, and late nights. Marjorie, thank you for keeping me company in the Freedom Plaza. She actually kept me company. All right. Moving on. Consent calendar. You have to leave now or no? Okay. All right. All matters listed on the consent calendar are to be considered routine by the City Council and will be enacted by one motion in the form listed. Any item may be removed from the consent calendar and considered separately by the City Council. The public will be given an opportunity to comment on the consent calendar items prior to the City Council's actions. Leave to after? Okay. Council, anything? Nope. Public? Which, no, is it on 1, 6, 7, or 8 on the consent calendar? Oh, it's public comments? Okay. No. Public comments is a whole different section, but no one else put in all public comments, correct? Okay, right, moving on.
I'll move the consent calendar.
Right.
Second.
Councilmember Scott?
Aye.
Councilmember Wright?
Aye.
Councilwoman Ramirez?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Mintz?
Aye.
Mayor Bildery?
Aye.
Approved 5-0.
Items removed from consent calendar for discussion, none. Public hearing, number 9.
Mr. Mayor, I'll have to excuse myself. Obviously, I own a business that this item could be affected, and also the next one with Project Phoenix funds. It still has relation to my wife's business downtown. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Don't fall asleep. Keith, is that you? Keith's doing it? All right.
So, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this is a development code amendment that clarifies and adds some things to the development code which were either absent or just not clear in the current code. And the hope is that we can make this a much more business-friendly environment. The first issue that is being addressed here is the ancillary activities and uses. This, the example I like to use here is a lunch counter inside of a grocery store that is owned and operated by the grocery store. That would be an ancillary use. In other words, products or services offered by an existing business owner that may not be the primary function of the business. And the process for that is, as long as both activities are allowed in the same land use permitting level, then a zoning letter can be issued by the community development director saying they're basically good to go, considering it's an ancillary use. Ancillary commercial businesses, definition here is a separate business which is wholly confined within a separate business. The restrictions here are ancillary businesses are not owned by the primary, by definition. Entrances and exits must be located entirely within another business with no unique means of ingress or egress. The secondary business must have the same hours of operation or less, and no more than 25% of the space of the primary business may be leased out to the secondary business because you have a primary and a secondary. The example of this would be like the Burger King inside of the Walmart. That's like a very big example. The Walmart does not run the Burger King. Burger King runs itself, but you have to go through the Walmart to get to the Burger King. And the reason why we want to keep it with the same entrances and the same hours of operation, you get into ADA issues if they have separate entrances. So that's why we propose that. The process would be for ancillary businesses to knock it down a land use level. The highest level of a land use permit is a conditional use permit, which is roughly $4,500, and then the next level down is an administrative use permit, then a site plan review, and then a zoning letter. So if we have a business that would normally be a site plan review, for instance, and going inside of somewhere else, like an accountant office going inside of an insurance company wants to go inside a grocery store, then there would be no cost for the land use permit. This is a very simplified example of the different scenarios we would be looking at. Imagining a grocery store, and this kind of model is actually very, very common. They have one main entrance in the front, and the bank at the top is an ancillary business. You cannot access it unless you go through the grocery store. So that would be considered an ancillary business. On the bottom left here is a lunch counter, which could be considered an ancillary use or activity. On the bottom right, just for discussion purposes and illustrative purposes, I just put in there a bar and grill, which would be a separate business. That would be a separate tenant space that would have to go under separate permits. Ancillary entertainment, we've discussed this a couple of times with the City Council and the Planning Commission and the business community. The Development Code does not address ancillary entertainment at all. live entertainment is listed as an allowed use, but it requires onerous and expensive land use permits. Basically, it would require, almost everything for live entertainment would require a full-blown conditional use permit, even for our karaoke machine, conceivably. So the idea here is we're going to be making more common sense regulations here. So what we're doing, what we're proposing to do, as opposed to giving a land use permit, we would be giving a license process. The standards of the license would be the maximum occupancy of whatever establishment cannot be exceeded at any time for safety reasons. Parking, noise, and lighting need to be maintained and in compliance. No activities that would fall under adult-oriented businesses, and no increased calls for law enforcement or other emergency services as a result of your entertainment. So what we would do then is we would not put a limit on the amount of entertainment or type, provided that these provisions are met. So if someone wanted to have a band one night and a comedian the other night and a karaoke the other night, we're not gonna get down to that level of regulation. It's just they're gonna have a place to have entertainment. These are the proposed fees based upon some assumptions we made for hours of processing and inspection times. That is up to the city council, but this is our recommendation. We have had 3 business community meetings, 2 workshops at the Planning Commission, 1 public hearing at the commission, and if the city council passes this today, we would come back for the second reading at the next city council meeting. We would be opening these applications up effective July 1st, because that's the next fiscal year. But what we're going to do is we're going to tie this entertainment license with your business license, so it can be renewed at the same time. So you don't have more than one annual license to worry about. So we're recommending that the city council consider this project, this development code amendment exempt from CEQA, and to approve of the development code amendment. And thank you.
Council, comments?
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Gardner. I think that this is a common sense policy that will actually help our small businesses, and I'm all for chipping away at cumbersome regulations.
Anyone else? Okay. All right. See if we got anybody. All right. Both mine. Open the public. Ms. Pipolo? Is she here? Oh, she is. She got dressed up to come today. I like that.
All right. That's right. Big day with my townies on. Hello, everybody. As a business owner in Twentynine, but not one with a public space, I did give opportunity to speak with other brick and mortar businesses. I'd like to express my support for most of the recommendations outlined in the staff report regarding ancillary activities, businesses, and entertainment licenses. Keith put a lot of effort and thought into addressing the early concerns and working with the business community to get to where we are now. I believe it's a strong step forward to economic development in 29 Palms. Removing some of the initial barriers to entry for entertainment is a smart move. Our local businesses are constantly evolving, testing new ideas to attract customers and offer more to our community. Making it easier to try something new without unnecessary hurdles is the kind of policy that encourages economic growth. That said, I have 2 primary concerns. First, the requirement for 2 annual safety inspections. This seems excessive and burdensome to many low-risk ancillary activities. For small businesses, this extra requirement could be a deal breaker. If safety is the goal, 1 thorough inspection per year should be enough. Secondly, the cost. The current VHR safety inspection is $222.75. That seems to be like a fair benchmark, and any similar inspection for ancillary use should be capped at no more than $225 annually, keeping things fair and consistent. Also, the staff report mentions that violators may face large fines or suspensions but the draft doesn't outline those penalties. I recommend including that information clearly so expectations can be set from the beginning, making it easy for business owners to understand and comply with the programs for success. Overall, I fully support this addition to the development code and feel the direction is encouraging. The permit restrictions listed on the slide were perfectly reasonable, aside from the additional inspection, which seems unnecessary. And I also really like the ancillary businesses. We have the barber here is sitting behind me, and I think that's a perfect example of how that can work. And hopefully it encourages more businesses to explore similar creative uses and use share space, which would encourage further economic growth at low cost. So I hope the city will adapt the proposed development code changes with a few small tweaks so businesses can move forward with their summer plans and event without further delay. And I also, on a personal note, I appreciate that Keith put forward the recommendation, or the staff put forward the recommendation for $550. I feel our city is bleeding expenses at this point, and I think it's his fiscal responsibility to propose what the actual costs are. But one way to trim that would be one inspection. Then we're net zero. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Menendez?
Hello. So I think I agree with Susan. And I commend Keith for this because I think he did a great job engaging the business community, coming to the DBA meetings, getting the word out there on this. I think this is really important. It's a way we can show we're competitive with the low desert cities and so forth. You know, since, as you know, most of you know, I own the building where the ground squirrel is and the lobby. I don't own it anymore. I went ahead and decided not to try to modify the loan and let it go to foreclosure. So now it's owned by a foreign investor. So hopefully they don't turn it into a Walmart or Dollar General. But I think it's important. I'm just concerned about the state of our downtown right now with a lot of the vacancies and so forth. I think that we need to do a better job with wayfinding, you know, but and signage or something. And also I'd just like to add Eileen Leslie, who just had a birthday yesterday or the day before. She had her grand opening at Snakes and Stars, and you know, I attended that, and the patio at Freedom Plaza. I think it's so great. And our Paint and Easel started. It's the former White Label Vinyl space. That's a great spot with the patio, and I'm hoping that we can really revitalize what's going on at Freedom Plaza. So thank you, Keith, for doing this, and I hope we can keep some momentum going in what we're got going on in Freedom Plaza, or the Freedom Plaza downtown area, whatever we're going to call it. Thank you.
Thank you. Back up here. Any questions, comments?
I do. So. So I do appreciate Ms. Peplow's comments. I also have a few questions. Do both businesses, you know, as it's written right now, the two safety inspections, do they have to be in tandem? Are they from whenever they applied for their initial license?
The safety inspection would only be applicable to those requesting entertainment because we want to make sure that the basic safety features are there, the lit exit signs, the exits aren't blocked, that kind of thing. And also we're checking to see if there's any, for instance, stages or electric upgrades or things that were done without permits. We need to get those permitted. So that was the intent of those inspections.
My next question is, if the main this is for a business within a business but different owners. If the main building needs repairs or is not up to code, then, you know, for a safety reason, maybe people can't go in there, then would both businesses need to cease operations until they're brought up?
Yeah, ideally the businesses the building where these are structured would have to be under code. In compliance with code, I should say.
And then my last question is, what are the consequences? You know, for example, it says that there would be fees.
Mm-hmm.
We can't enforce something that's not black and white, and it has to be
Right.
transparent. So it should say you will get a fee of X amount of dollars and a daily fee, or, you know, whatever the fee schedule is going to be.
Right.
But I would like it to be outlined.
Very much understood, and some of this is case by case specific. You know, if someone, for instance, if we had extra calls for service that weren't there before, that probably means a more severe fine or a suspension, other than as opposed to someone who didn't know they were supposed to get a license, and then we work with them to get them under license. I mean, there's a lot of different scenarios there. So,
And then it says, the PowerPoint presentation said that this would be effective July 1st.
So what we can do by then, I mean, provided the city council approves this, is we can get our application forms situated, and then we can put up some general guidelines as to what would cause a suspension and what would cause a fine, for instance.
All right.
And then we make that as publicly as we can.
My concerns with the effective date of July 1, and I'm going to be very clear in saying this is not directed at any one specific business, at anybody at all. This is not intended to scrutinize or attack anybody, but I'm more concerned about the process. And so I do know, there was an incident with, the whole reason this started was because there was a business within a business, and this was not something that we had seen before. But it's my understanding that we have not voted on this yet. And that business was given a permit to move forward in operations without us voting on this. So when I'm having multiple meetings, 4 meetings in the past week with small business owners, I'm all about small business owners. I'm all about making it easy for them. I want people to thrive in the business ventures that they decide to take on. But my first concern is going to be straightforward. If we're going to create a policy that is meant to be enforced, then it needs to be enforced fairly and consistently. We cannot bend the rules for one person and not another. Doing so undermines the integrity of our governments. The second, and perhaps the more pressing concern, is procedural. When permits are authorized that do not align with our current code before they come to the council, it amounts to making a council-level policy decision without involving the council, and that is never acceptable. The public deserves transparency, accountability, and a process that respects the role of every elected representative. So my question to Dr. James is going to be, number one, did you authorize that permit or that permit to be authorized?
No, ma'am.
Were you aware of it before it happened?
No, ma'am.
Can I trust you to get to the bottom of the situation?
Yes, I
okay.
will.
It has to be an even, leveled, fair playing ground for everybody, all the time. That is why we are here. That is why we are elected. That is why we make policy. We don't pick one and not the other. This has to be fair. It has to be transparent. It has to be black and white, and it has to be enforceable. But more importantly, it has to be for the people. So again, while I am 100% in favor of moving forward and in favor of doing all this, I still have some concerns that there's some vagueness to it, and I just don't feel like I'm ready to vote on it at this time.
Anyone else, council? Comments?
I think some of the people in the audience made some very good points about the fees, and I was wondering if maybe those are some things that we can negotiate. I think it was $225. Okay. Is that okay? Is that okay that we were consistent with the VHR?
maybe what can occur is if the council has a number of questions, we can copy down all of the questions and then
I
get
think-
together.
Yeah, I think we gotta table it, because we need the fees for the fines, and then we need rechanging the fees.
Yeah.
If we're gonna do that, make my words correct. If we were to change the safety inspection fees, we still gotta add the penalty fees, and then a category, because like you said, there's different penalties, you know, not, some does something extreme, it's one thing, and then some does some little, it's not gonna be the same price, right? Okay, so we need to explain that very clear, and then with, Councilmember Octavius brought up, and then your good points also. So let's table this for the discussion. Are we in agreement on the table?
Yeah, I agree. I think it needs to be tabled and brought back.
Date certain?
You got 7 feet forward, though. It's a good forward progress, so we just
Yeah.
got to take some more steps. But I thank you for everything so far that we've gone at this process. Anything else?
Do you want to go to a date certain, or do you want to take it off?
If you can get it to the next meeting, so then we want to move forward, so I don't want to like drag it out. But if we can get
Yeah.
those things figured out by next meeting, then bring it back next meeting.
Okay.
That good? All right.
So then
Thank
it would
you,
be,
Mr. Keith.
it would be tabled until the June 10th meeting.
Yes, please, if possible. I mean, if you can't get the information, then just we'll move on. If I don't see it, then I figured we weren't ready. Okay. Thank you. Let's go to number. Uh-oh. Oh, he's still out there. All right, good. Discussion potential action items, number 10. Primary 2-year project Phoenix funds and sewer fund budget FY 2025, 26, 26, and 27. This is for review.
Is that working? Okay. Well, thank you again, Mr. Mayor, council members, members of this community. So tonight's presentation is for initial discussion and review only. No action is required at this time. And this is a preliminary budget review for Project Phoenix and Sewer Fund for fiscal year 25-26 and 26-27. There was a small revision to the budget calendar. So I was supposed to bring in tonight the general fund budget for approval, but there's other changes that need to be made. So I'm going to bring it back on June 10th. And I'm going to bring all of the budgets on that date. So that would include general fund, Project Phoenix, and special funds. And then we still, if there's some items that still need to be worked out, we can have another meeting on June 24. However, it has to be, all of the budgets have to be approved before July 1st. So just a quick outline of my presentation tonight. I'm going to discuss the purpose of the funds, summary of the revenue sources, and Project Phoenix budget projections for 25-26 and sewer fund projects. So the purpose of the Project Phoenix funds are to account activities associated with the city's downtown rehab project. And the enterprise fund was created to account for the cost of the sewer service fees at Freedom Plaza. There's still about $185,000 left in open projects that was originally committed for Project Phoenix, and I'll go in more detail in the subsequent slide. Then there's also about $1.1 million in housing funds. However, $1 million has already been committed for the affordable housing project that's going to be handled by, I'm sorry, let me get the name, Milestone Housing. So then that leaves $116,000 for, again, that has to be used for affordable housing. Then the projects that I was mentioning about, the $185,000 is broken down as follows. So it's $108,000 for the business loan program. That still hasn't been fully closed. So I'm going to be working with Keith to maybe bring an update to the council in, next few months or so. Then there's also about $29,000 for street furniture, $24,000 for facility fixtures, and $15,000 for public art. So all of those things are going to be happening at the Freedom Plaza. Let me see. Then as far as the sewer fund, we have a couple of projects. We have the USGS study, which is projected to cost about $2.3 million. We already have about $2.2 million coming from $2.1 million from a grant from EPA and $100,000 from the water district. And so we're potentially gonna need $100,000 to fund the difference. Then we're also working with EDA to fund about $1.7 million of that package treatment plan, which is gonna cost about almost $2.2 million. And we already have allocated the city match, which with those projects specifically, we have to contribute 20% match of the total project cost. So we already have those allocated, so we're good with that project. And we are not going to be required to have a 20% match for the USGS study, but we're actually working, Keith and Christine are working with our lobbyists to get a cost share waiver. And then for operating expenditures at that sewer, for the sewer system, we're projecting about $82,000. About $70,000 is being funded by the general fund, and then the remainder is being funded by the sewer collection fees at the for the businesses located at Freedom Plaza. And I already mentioned that we might need an additional $100,000 for the USGS study. As we get closer to the project and final figures, I'll bring something. I'll bring this back for discussion. And that's all I have for Project Phoenix. Any questions?
Council questions? Nope. Public, Eric Menendez. Fancy stickers, I like that.
Yeah, I was trying to save time. So I'm going to start with a quote about Freedom Plaza, actually. Let's see if you can tell me who said it. Freedom Plaza is a dream that came to fruition. It can mushroom into so many possibilities. I don't know if you guys know who said that or not, but it was Mayor Ogilvy. It's in the video. It lives forever rent free in my head because at Village Fest, our video looped every 10 minutes, right? You know, and then it came on with David Smith and Travis Clark. I actually was just talking to Travis tonight. I was stopping by DHS on my way from my other meeting. I hope the storefront improvements is that. I mean, again, I'm not trying to do Q&A here, but I don't know if that's the same round of the stuff that didn't get used before, because that's something I was trying to do. And Keith, I got looped out on that because it got kind of taken. But I think it is critical to help these businesses, small businesses like Eileen, like, these shuttered businesses there to beautify Freedom Plaza and these storefronts and bring some activity. And, I want to recognize Roger Thomas and the farmer's market. I've been working with him a lot down at the DHS Friday nights on Pearson. He does a great job every week. And Councilmember Scott, I know you took the time to come down to Freedom Plaza and walk it with me. Freedom Plaza is falling into disrepair. The electrical outlets are all done. It was never equipped with sound or wiring. The bird pigeon stuff. And I talked to Craig Stacy. There's only so much they can do, and I get it. They did a poor job on the roofing. So I hope that we can allot some maintenance stuff. But one of the things about Roger and his farmer's market here is, he doesn't get compensated. He has the agreement for running it, and people love to criticize it. But, it's hard to go out there in the wind every week consistently instead of make sure the vendors show up. And then you have to run generators at all the posts because it was never wired and amped correctly. I'm going to be bringing a big event here in November and hopefully one in August. And, it would be nice if we had it wired for sound and for production. Because as you know, even though it was through Visit Twentynine, the Downtown Business Association threw the party at the plaza. We threw the Pride event. We burdened that as small businesses. And we had very little money, like $5,000. And our sweat and tears and equity went into those events, and it made it a success. But yet it sits there empty, falling apart. And I talked to Vanessa, and her view is, well, that's Roger's responsibility to maintain the electrical things. The vendors are ruining it, and I don't think that's fair. You know what I mean? I think we need to maintain that property, because during COVID, I know a lot of you forget this, and one of the handouts that I gave you, we did contract public works for the city when you guys didn't have staff to do it. Desert Beacon did it every weekend. So that's how, with our cleanup, I knew where all the dumpsters were. You know, we filled them all up at all 7 spots, all city parks. So I think we need to do a better job maintaining Freedom Plaza, and I think we need to fill up Freedom Plaza and use it what it was for. Thank you.
Thank you. That was it? What else? All right, back to council.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. We have a future council-initiated item to discuss shade structures and possible fixture with Freedom Plaza, an art fixture. And I was just wondering, is there anything in the budget that could be used for that?
For shade structure at Freedom Plaza?
Yeah, we have it's coming to the council soon to discuss shade structures for Freedom Plaza, as well as an art fixture.
Yeah, there's, for our fixture, we do have $15,000 specifically for art, for public art. For shade, I can make a note, and then once the item is brought, then we can determine how much it's gonna cost, and I can see whether or not we have the funding for it.
Thank you.
Would that fall under furniture? Could it? If you look on the,
Not necessarily. I
'Cause you have
mean,
a-
we can, you
you
can
have an
always
item.
reallocate the funds.
yeah,
if
you got an
that's
item
what
on
you
there that says
need.
street furniture. I don't know if that falls under the same.
When part of that, there were some benches purchased for the Freedom Plaza, so that was part of that, like
Okay.
everything that's like outside.
So I don't know if that shades would fall under that.
I guess we could.
Umbrella?
Yeah,
Not
it's
to be- no pun intended.
$29,000. Yeah.
All right, we'll look at it. All right. Council, anything else? This is just for review, so.
Yes.
You got more?
Nope,
Or you got-
that's it.
That's it? Move it on? Well, I can bring Danny though, right?
Yeah.
Mr. Hall of Famer.
Oh, you were, okay, good.
That year. All right, oh man, where are we at? Number 11?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this is the preliminary review for the special funds budget. Oh, is that me? And this is again the same thing, just review only, no action items. Okay, so the special funds, those were created either by the city or other agencies to collect money that was that has to be used for a specific project or purpose, and they just provide an extra level of accountability and transparency to taxpayers to ensure that their tax or fee dollars are going towards the intended purpose. Some of the special funds that we have are CDBG fund, gas tax, Measure I, lighting and landscaping, public access TV, TIVIT, and others. Some of the revenue sources that are collected through these funds include tax revenue, grants, contributions, fees, and investment for the various funds that we have. The tax revenue is projected at $2.1 million, and that's basically, again, coming from gas tax, SB1, RMRA, grants. We have a couple of grants coming in for the Split Rock Bridge, that's through Caltrans. We also have the not the EDA, that was Project Phoenix, I'm sorry. We have various, we have the Sullivan Bike Path, that's also a bigger project, about $3.2 million for the Sullivan Bike Path. So let's see what else. The fees that we have are various sources, the TIVIT fees, lighting, landscaping, and then the transfers from the general fund, and that's to the capital projects fund. This is just the history of our RMRA and gas tax revenue over the past 11 years. It fluctuates every year, and then for the upcoming 2 fiscal years, there's only a projection of 2% increase in each fiscal year, which is not very significant. And I was researching like what is gas tax driven by? And it's not by gas prices, but it's based on usage, or how consumer usage. Yes. And then this is just a summary of all of the projects that we have. The total cost of the capital projects that we have that we're currently working on. We have about $20 million in capital projects. And any project that does not get completed in fiscal year 25-26 is going to be, roll forward to the next fiscal year. We have $4 million in streets, parks, $589,000, safety projects, about $8.4 million, and other projects, $1.5 million. And I'll go in more detail for each category in the next slides. So for street projects, we have the SR 62 improvement phase 2B. That's going to cost about $1.7 million, and that's a combination of grants and Measure I funding. Also road overlays and chip seal work, about $1.1 million, and that's coming from SB1 and Measure I funding. Street repairs and maintenance is going to be funded with gas tax and Measure I funding. The street widening at Choya Avenue, about $250,000, and that's going to come out of the development impact fees from the curb, gutter, and sidewalk. And street improvements, they're going to be funded with development impact fees. For our parks project, we have the citywide channel trail. That's only the design portion, $439,000. We're getting a grant. And also a combination with Measure I funding. And then the Lucky Park lot improvements, about $150,000 from CDBG. For safety projects, we have the Split Rock Bridge project, which is projected to cost about $4.1 million, the construction phase only. And that's going to come, a combination of a couple grants from Caltrans, SBCTA, and Measure I. The Sullivan Bike Path is actually almost $4 million, and that's coming a combination of general of grants and a couple of transfers from the general fund. Then also the Array Crossing, $329,000, and that's going to be funded by Measure I. And the 2 Mile and Adobe Road, that project's pretty much completed. That $40,000 is just for project administration, and but the actual construction phase has been completed. For other projects, we have the animal shelter, senior center improvements, the home key project. We have the vehicle replacement for animal control. That one has been approved already, but we're in the process of acquiring that vehicle. So if we don't acquire it before the end of July, then before the end of June, we're going to roll it over to the next fiscal year. Then we have wall repair, about $50,000, abatements, $50,000, and the shade structure at City Hall, $45,000. And for the street sweeper, we're going to put aside $25,000 in the equipment replacement fund. That's not how much it's going to cost. We're just putting aside that much money that's left out of the $120,000 that we received from PERTEC. And this is just a description of all of the different funds that we have. In the interest of time, I'll just conclude my presentation.
All right, council questions?
Thank you. I noticed there was a couple of projects there where CDBG were the funding source. So it looks like the Home Key project as well as Lucky Park Activity Center parking lot. What's the amount that we have for CDBG? Do we usually get annually?
It varies every year. It just depends on. And Carrie can explain that better because I don't know if she's still here. I think she left. But I believe it's based on population. It's a formula that the county uses in order for the city to get the funding. So it varies every year. If there's any funding available from the prior year, sometimes they allow us to rolling forward to the other project. But those are, yeah, very, it's formula driven, I would say.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I just wanted to note, because I was doing research regarding, blight removal in our community, and I just saw an opportunity that maybe next time when we receive CDBG funds, that we use those funds for blight removal. Just something I just want to toss out there.
Sure. Yeah, I can
Yeah, well,
definitely.
there's some formula. I'm not sure from past experience if that can be used for something like that, but that's where we end up backfilling, things with this. I think they have to be major projects.
I mean,
but I'd have to.
Well, I've already done. Dr. Stone and myself have done some research on this, and they can be used for that.
Oh, okay. Well, that's changed.
Yeah, we had done a little research, and it does appear as though it could be allocated for the blight removal, which then, as Councilmember Scott had pointed out, could we then, if we were to address the blight, remove the house if it was too dilapidated to service, then could we find funds to build a house on top? I did reach out to Carrie, and Carrie confirmed what Ms. Abigail had said in terms of it's an allocation we received from the county, and I don't know of any mechanism. We can certainly ask, but I don't know of any mechanism in order to increase our funding, given the fact that it is formula driven.
Yeah, and those projects, unfortunately, we have a very small time frame to request those funds. Like, just working with those grants, we have like 3 months to get it expended. It's unbelievable the time frame that we get from the county. Like, they approve it, and then the next month they're already like, oh, did you spend it? And it's like, well, it takes months before I can bring a contractor in. So it's
yeah,
it's
I
a
definitely
challenge.
understand that. That's definitely a challenge, because something like blight removal could take like 6 months.
Yes, yeah, their timelines are not very flexible, I would say that. And
All right.
Other questions?
Thank you for the review. Number 12. First Amendment to the City Manager's Employment Agreement. Mayor Pro Tem.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Mayor. There was the subcommittee for the personnel was the mayor and myself. After the first year, we reviewed his compensation. We recommended to the City Council 2.5% increase in the city's manager's salary, retroactive to coincide with his employment anniversary date, and the cost of living COLA increase in July at the same time, which would amount to 2.5%. That's just what the same as the employees also got. So that makes that would go up. The city manager's total salary now is $180,836. Following July COLA adjustments to be $185,357.15. The other compensation is obviously a slight increase in his vacation leave amount of time you can accumulate. Addition to $500 a month for deferred compensation, and the contract amendment being to the City Council. And that's really about it.
Comments, council? No? Come on from Eric Mendez?
Okay, so yeah, I think I just want to say that I think we're lucky to have Dr. James. I think he comes to us with a wealth of experience. He got here and we had our monsoonal flood, and seeing him as a healthcare professional myself, and coming from a background of pre-hospital care and emergency management, I think he stepped in and did a great job for the city. I think that, in these times, given that our median, I've seen it in a couple different versions. I've seen our median income in this city posted somewhere around 29,000, but I've also seen it listed around up to 40. We got to be cognizant of how we're compensating our staff, because a lot of people here don't have the luxury of having a city job or a base on the job and whatever. But I'm not in any way suggesting that I understand we have to offer competitive salary or whatever. I have no issue with that. I think my issue more is just with making sure the city manager has enough staff under him to get things done, so we are allowing him to focus and grow into his new position. Just as a nurse, when I would go into another practice area or go from, say, a RN to a advanced practitioner role, you have to be able to learn how to go from working in economic development, because I think that's what he did at Cat City, to having the skill set to be able to focus on the city as a whole and management. I do think there's room for, anyways, I'm not going to go into it more, but I think we're lucky to have Dr. James. So I think, thank you for his service. Thank you.
Thank you. Carlos Blandon?
Hi, Carlos Blandon. Good day, Mayor, council members, ladies and gentlemen, friends and neighbors. Have you ever heard the expression talking out of both sides of your mouth? It means saying contradicting things particularly different to different people. It implies dishonesty and insincerity as if someone is speaking different versions of the truth and creating different versions of themselves depending on who they are talking to. I have attended every meeting since February 2025 since deciding to become more president in our community, which I want the best. Our city hall sessions talk a lot of hot air about physical conservation, while at the same time paying for unnecessary expenses. I have concerns about our current budgetary deficit, and particularly with what I feel is a gross over expenditure for what the salary and subsidy housing for our community developer, Keith. The financial director warned us of a dire situation that our city would potentially fall into if we do not watch our budgetary consumption. However, we continue to pay luxury for city employees who could pay their own ways, as the majority of the workforce here has to. At the least, the city manager pulled a loan and is paying his fair share of taxes. I'm also concerned about the scheme for the luxury housing and development currently being manipulated by the community developer. I'm sure a community developer, a quadbunal lord of 4 directors in one. These lords can be filled in 3 other individuals for much lower salaries, which is a path we should consider for our physical conservation. Given all of the political and economic uncertainties facing our country as a whole, we should observe physical vigilance and scrutiny, or at least not assume that we will get the tax increase vote in the coming election. I advocate that we plan for the now and prepare when the funds physically arrive, because my brothers in arms are going for a rift, and we're just going to expand even further. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, back to council.
I make a motion that we adopt a proposed amendment to the city manager's employment agreement.
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Councilmember Scott?
Aye.
Councilmember Wright?
Aye.
Councilwoman Ramirez?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Mintz?
Aye.
Mayor Bildre?
Aye.
Approved 5-0.
Mr. Stoney, any comments?
It's been a pleasure to serve the community and a pleasure to serve the council. Excited to see where we have been and where we're going, to see the staff working together to identify the different opportunities that the different actions we need to take in order to continue on the momentum that has been built within the downtown, that has been built just generally within the overall area. It's pretty exciting. I think I consider it an honor and a privilege to be in this role.
Thank you. Future council initiated items. Yeah. You have some?
Yeah. I would like for us to review and amend code ordinance number 320, subsection 4, specifically Exhibit A. Also to visit, review, and amend 19.32.060 as far as operating standards.
So would you be so kind as to repeat those again, both of them, slowly?
Can you-
1972 points.
I did my homework.
Can you put,
So what are they?
can you make letters into words?
Yes, absolutely. So this code specifically, I'm going to pull up the email, specifically goes into home use. Let me pull this up, make sure I get it right. Basically, what kind of business you're running out of your home. It's very, very vague. I've received multiple emails from multiple small business owners.
Should we refer this to the planning commission first? Is that what we should do? Let them review it?
Yeah, so, we can definitely bring this up to the planning commission. I believe you're referring to home occupation provisions?
Correct, yes.
Okay. We can bring that up to the commission as a study
Is there a
session.
specific
there is.
Just specific, yeah, they'll want a little more specifics as far as.
Yeah,
So
because they-
Can't discuss what it is, but just what is it?
the parts that I think need to be reviewed?
Yes.
Okay, so the first would be letter N, no traffic shall be generated by such home occupation in greater volumes than would normally be expected in a residential neighborhood, nor shall the use require additional parking spaces than provided on site.
Would you be so kind as to re-mention the ordinance number?
Mm-hmm. Ordinance number 320, subsection 4, Exhibit A.
Do you have a particular section of the development code?
Mm,
I know you're referencing an ordinance, but
I think it's.
you know what? If I think
Would it be the applicability part?
Hold on. Let me see if I can find it.
Okay.
Yeah, as opposed to
Okay.
looking for it right now, I think I get your gist. so,
Okay, yeah, it's 9.32.020 applicability
Okay.
under prohibited home occupations,
So 19.32
.020.
okay, so that's, okay.
And
That-
the section is titled applicability
Okay.
Mhm.
And this is in regards to a particular use?
to multiple complaints that I received from local small business owners. You know, one of the prohibited activities there is pet sitting and dog walking, except for home office uses associated with this activity. So that's a prohibited home occupation. One of the constituents that wrote to me essentially said that she does, you know, dog walking and sometimes pet sitting for military families that either go to the field or have to leave or are in transition.
Yeah.
And she was really upset to receive a cease and desist letter from the city. So I want to make sure that we're doing everything that we can to empower people to do it and really make sure that the rules are not so vague.
Or excessively restrictive.
Correct.
Yeah, we can definitely revisit that at the planning commission.
Thank you.
So that was the first one, section 19.32.020, prohibited uses with a specific focus on pet sitting and dog walking. Did you also want to include dog grooming, or is that a little bit too
No,
far?
the grooming one will
Okay.
also go in there.
So you want to, well, we can't really discuss, you just want them reviewed.
Yes,
Correct.
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 And on that one specifically, letter N.
Okay, very good. And then I think that there was a second code that you wanted us to take a look at.
That was all together.
Oh, it was. Okay, so this is just one topic, and
Mhm.
encapsulates the pet sitting, dog walking, grooming letter in.
Yeah,
It's just that
and
one.
we are in the process of reviewing several development codes with the planning commission, so we can just add that to the list.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else, council? Nope. Right. Bear with me. Next is public comments. Oh, I know. This is the time for the public to address the city council on issues within the jurisdiction of the city council that are not on this agenda. All comments are to be directed to the city council, should not consist of any personal attacks. Members of the public are expected to maintain a professional and courteous decorum during their comments. There's a time limitation of 3 minutes per person. If you haven't already done so, please fill out the name and address slips and give it to the city clerk. City council is prohibited by state law from taking action or discussing items not included on the printed agenda. Public comments on specific agenda items will be deferred until consideration of the item on the agenda. First up, Marjorie Smith.
Good evening, I'm Marjorie Smith, San Bernardino County VOAD, Morongo Basin COAD, and American Red Cross. I want to publicly thank the city of 29 Palms for their efforts this year on May 17th of having your first emergency preparedness event. It was well attended
and it was just, people enjoyed it, and it was a wonderful, wonderful day. And I'd like to recognize that one of the people from the American Red Cross came down, and it was his first event he ever did, and he drove from Barstow down here in Red Cross stuff and set up the event and worked all day. He was there from about 7:30 till about 2, and then he left and he went to Barstow. And about 3 o'clock, I got a telephone call from your wonderful management in town that said, this is a confidential call. We need to be activated. And we activated the Red Cross on behalf of the bombing from Palm Springs. And you had staff that was there. Carrie was there all day for the event, and then she came back. And Dr. James hadn't been feeling too well. He came from his illness. And then Mayor Bilderand kept me company all day long and up until 10 o'clock at night. And it was a long day, and I just want to publicly thank you for all that you do. The people don't know that you do quietly. There's no recognition, but it was done well. And thank goodness we didn't have any emergency, nor did we have to open the shelter. But let's get back to the little guy who drove from Barstow. He was the only one on duty for the Red Cross that night, so when he got back to Barstow, he picked up somebody in Yermo and came back to bring the trailer so that we could open a shelter. So what my call to you is that we need to encourage the volunteers in this community to get trained by the Red Cross so that we do not have to wait for someone to come from Yermo with cots. We have cots sitting here behind the hospital in Joshua Tree that we could not access because we didn't have anybody who had a truck that had the training for American Red Cross that could help us set up the shelter. That's not acceptable. And so we're pushing highly for training, and there's a lot of people in this room originally that are all part of the training and part of this whole network, including Edison. So I just say thank you and keep up the good work.
Thank you. Carlos Blandon.
Hello. I want to notify and warn the city of Wander Hotel JT LLC. They haven't been a bad player in our city. I feel the code enforcement submissions that I've been given has been going nowhere because you guys are playing to their hand. They have been littering and not containing the site of their waste, just letting all their cardboard and plastic and non-essential items drift into the wind, even into the federal lands. Their waste containers spill over and not tied down, even with straps. It's common sense, common practice of any construction site to contain your waste within your site. This all can be prevented with standard project management practices. They also blocked public streets without any encroachment permits. Ben and Adam are highly reputable directors and owners of Wonder Hotel, the shipping container. These folks believe they can just buy up all the land and annex and buy up or vacate streets as they wish and just pay friends of the city and understand that this is the overlord and slumlord mentality that destroys communities. If these folks do not follow the simple protocols established in their permit that the community developer gave them, what else do they think they can ignore as they wish because their pockets are full? And what is our planning department going to do about it? Because Wonder Hotel trash has made it all the way into the national park. It can be considered federal littering. Also, I just found out they got a new entertainment permit to have a wedding out there. There's pergolas and areas that are not even supposed to be permitted in their site development. So they're just going all the way, as much as they want. So, are you actually out there doing your job?
Is the Wonder the reset? Reset. Yeah. There's also a Yonder. One. So it's Wonder. Yeah. So the reset. This is our T-bid.
All right, here we go. Ms. Susan Peplau.
What's he doing? Yeah, he doesn't play by the rules. Yeah. Special interest. Sellout.
I'll try to keep it a little bit lighter. Thank you, staff, for the regular updates during the Palm Springs bomb situation, as well as the Red Cross. I think that staff did a really great job on a day off to keep social media posts going, open up Freedom Plaza, especially communicate and answer questions that were happening on social media on a day off, even during an active investigation. So thank you, Cindy. I'm sure that you were part of that, and it's noted. So very good on that. Also, kudos again to the planning department regarding the most recent postcard mailing, which was round 2 in postcards, if you're not aware. That had, this one got some bang for our bucks. It was like 10 items, but it was trash, a lighting ordinance, not sleeping or staying in RVs, just kind of some basic things. I think that this is a really good educational tool that we've been utilizing to, well, educate the actual residents of the community, not just the property owners who may or may not be here. Remember, we're at like, what, 60% renter occupied. So I think postcards is a real soft touch way of communicating what our expectations are and what our municipal code is. So I am all for that. Keep them going. Also, just to everybody here and to City Council, reminder to attend the in-person only T-bid session scheduled for this Thursday at City Hall at 3:30. With the T-bid annual reauthorization quickly approaching, Thursday is one of the last opportunities to hear for yourself what topics they're discussing, what's new, what areas we've excelled at, as well as areas that we are still having, I would say, significant challenges with. And I really encourage you to please attend so you can be part of that discussion and provide support where appropriate, but also maybe look at giving, again, more guidance and oversight to the T-bid. And actually, Ms. Gill mentioned it. She snuck it in there a little bit. And it really dovetails into what Councilmember Ramirez was saying about kind of keeping things square and fair. Ms. Gill's right. The T-bid awarded a $20,000 grant to an event that is not in 29 Palms, nor was it within the sphere of influence specifically located for Wonder Valley and Desert Heights. Joshua Tree is not in the sphere of influence and is not in the grant program, and they awarded 20 grand. Now, I don't think that was done with like malice or with misintent. I looked at the grant applications. I personally didn't catch it. We had a subcommittee that didn't catch it. So I do feel that this was a little bit of just an oversight, but it's a $20,000 oversight to put an event on in Joshua Tree. Thank you.
Thank you. Anna Stump?
Hi, Anna Stump. Tonight I just am introducing a grant that 3 of the citizens of 29 Palms are going after. We've made a little committee. Myself is on it, and I'm on it because I was part of the PAC when we got a $100,000 grant for arts. The committee is headed by Audrey Philpott, who was advising the T-bid on events, and a new lawyer in town. His name is Jordan Ash. We are going to be applying for the city to bring a Levitt Foundation grant to the city. It is a 3-year grant, $40,000 a year, to bring 10 free concerts per year to Freedom Plaza. We've spoken with Scott Clinkscales. He's excited about the possibility, and we are starting to discuss it with all of the different people who are in 29 who we would need their letters of support. But basically, the Levitt Foundation provides free, family-friendly concerts to small communities under $250,000. It is for $120,000 over 3 years. And if we make it to the next round of the application, we would come back and ask to be put on an agenda to give you a full overview of the grant. But I'm just letting you know right now that we're going to be trying to get that grant. We will be going through a local 501c3 to receive the money. It does have matching funds, half are in kind, So we would have to come up with $20,000 per year. We are confident that we can find that funding to bring 30 concerts to Freedom Plaza for the community, and it wouldn't be bad for tourism either. So I hope you're excited about it. We'll be back with more information if we make it to the next level. Thank you.
Thank you. Eric Menendez?
Thank you, Anna, for the update. And I was at that DBA meeting. And I think it's great that they're taking that initiative. I don't know where to start on my public comment. I want to get in there about JTGCA, our new website. It's a really great portal. It's going to be member interactive. It is live, jtgca.org. You can scroll to the very bottom of our current website, click on the sandbox, and you can see. But two of the articles that I handed you, they were blog posts. One's from our encounter with Supervisor Rao last August. It's almost a year since Octavius, Brianne, the marketing director from the TBID, as well as Welcome City Yucca Valley, and Dr. James, when he was new, had the meeting with Don Rao. I've been before the Board of Supervisors probably 5, 6, 7, 8 times, reached out to economic development, and I bet you're not going to be surprised in the fact that Don hasn't been out to meet with us. So you all know what's coming for the county. I've pretty much spoken to a lot of you about it. My main concern is, I want to support the city. I have 8 years invested here in my former company. We did the vacation rental program at the height of the craziness. 1 out of every 4 vacation homes in the city was managed by my company. Hundreds of thousands of dollars was spent by my company on community engagement. Anita Petke was our community engagement person. I know Mintz and, Councilmember Mitz and MacArthur, that Anita, she represented us. I've had hundreds of hours of engagement, and I'm frustrated. I don't feel supported here. When the city manager kind of discouraged me from coming out to the TBID strategy session, I think it was kind of inappropriate. I don't like the way the Desert Trumpet is being treated, putting signs on the table that they can't have a seat at the media table. If it wasn't for the Desert Trumpet, we would have no idea what's transpired with the TBID. And I know April and Steve, you're aware of the incident that occurred with our TBID co-chair. So there is going to be litigation pending, I assure you. So I'm not happy about it. I wouldn't walk into Councilmember Mitz's bowling alley and if he disagreed with my political views, be trespassed from the property. I've come to you with an ethical complaint, Cindy, and you refer me to Stone. He is a political appointee. That's not something the city manager can brush under the carpet. I'm very disappointed in the city, but I don't harbor any resentment. I appreciate all of your service, and I really thank you for the 5 or 6 years I've been in this town. But I'm going to continue to support this city. I'd like you to use the portal. I want to engage this community, and I think you guys need to do a better job at community engagement. Yucca Valley has Trepepi Smith. You should really look into them. They're a great resource. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Gill?
I'll be brief, but I'm Caitlin Gill, owner and operator of Joshua Tree Astronomy Adventures. I wanted to compliment every council member and every member of the city staff that engaged with the 29 Palms Youth Council. I attended several meetings this year because my company sponsored Teen Astronomy Night that was designed and hosted by the Youth Council. I was really impressed with the level of engagement and just how excellent they served as hosts for that event. We worked with Sky's the Limit Observatory to host the event, and I'm very pleased to say that on Friday, May 23rd, about 150 people came through to look through our telescopes, to look through the big telescope at the observatory. These were full families, children of all ages, but particularly targeted at teens. I wanted to make comment both to compliment the Youth Council, to say we're very proud the event was such an success, and to encourage council members to stay engaged with the Youth Council as they build a new board for the next year, and to members of our community, especially business owners. The way the youth were receptive to the offer of just something to do was inspiring enough to take up 1 extra minute of our time tonight to say that our youth would be really thankful if members of our community do reach out to organize events that are targeted to give them something constructive and fun to do. So yeah, I think it was a great marketing opportunity for us. I think it was a great civic project for the evening, and I would encourage other business owners to stay engaged with the Youth Council, and compliments to all the council members and the staff who took time for that group. They're really great.
Thank you. Ms. Lynch?
City Council members. My name is Caitlin Lynch, and I'm speaking on behalf of Bun Bun Beauty Bar. We're a small, established local business and proud to be a part of the 29 Palms community since 2023. I'm here respectfully to share our experience navigating our business licensing process for our new location, an experience that has left us feeling confused, frustrated, and financially strained. When we opened our first location in 2023, the process was simple and efficient. We paid a $200 fee and opened within a few weeks. Now, 2 years later, we've spent over $1,400 in fees alone, not including the cost of a title report, and we're still waiting for our license. What's most concerning is the lack of clarity and communication. Despite repeated attempts to get updates, we've been left waiting or being told different things depending on who we talk to. For example, the site plan changed from $1,500 to $1,200 without an explanation, and the processing time changed from 30 to 60 days to now 60 to 90. We fully support the city's goals of responsible planning and growth, but small businesses like ours need transparency, consistency, and accountability from departments that regulate us. When policies change, they should be clearly communicated and applied equally to all businesses. We love the city and we want to grow here, but delays and unclear requirements make it hard for a small business to thrive. I urge City Hall to review how business licensing is handled and work towards a more transparent, fair, and efficient process. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I say something? Ms. Lynch, if you'd be so kind as to wait after the meeting, would like to connect with you.
All right, city manager's update.
Thank you, Mayor. So a couple things tonight that I thought would be worth sharing with the community is, number one, the response to the IBF bombing in Palm Springs. So there were some good points that were brought out by the community here, you know, in terms of the city's efforts to proactively communicate with the residents on what was going on. So I appreciate your recognition of our effort to communicate as best as possible. One of the things that we were managing was the fact that we were not the lead agency, and in fact, the Sheriff's Department and the Fire Department, they were not the lead agency. It turned out to be the Federal Bureau of Investigations. They were the lead agency. And as you can imagine, the FBI, their concern was identifying what was in the house and the danger to the community that the materials in the house posed. And so they were not in a position to provide information because they were very much still trying to gather it themselves. One of the things that I also recognized was the fact that while they understand it's important for us to reach out to the community, their number one priority was making sure that their men and women that were a part of that incident went home safely. And then secondly, all of the other first responders. And so really just wanted to thank the community for the patience that I saw the community provide and respond with. It had to have been very difficult to be told you have to leave your home with no estimation on when you're going to be able to go back into your home. In fact, there was one gentleman who was out on a 12-mile run, and he had running shoes, shorts, a t-shirt, a hat, and a single house key. That was all he had. And he came back from his run, obviously tired, hungry, and thirsty, and he was not allowed back in his house. And I never heard him complain once. So we were able to take some measures. We were going to set up an overnight evacuation center. We found a better solution in order to take care of him, to make sure that he had a place to stay that night. But I just really wanted to thank the community for the patience in which you showed the professionals who responded that day. Also want to take some time, like someone else did earlier this evening, and acknowledge Carrie Minitry and Xavier and the other staff members that were a part of our collective response. We were in a supportive role, trying to identify what was going on. Are there ways that we could have helped the operations, either SBSO or the fire department or the FBI? And Carrie, as was pointed out, she was at Freedom Plaza at 6 a.m. that morning, opened it up, worked the event the whole day, and then was absolutely ready and willing to come back and work that evacuation center. We took Freedom Plaza and turned it into evacuation center, not knowing how many people were going to be displaced. And if those displaced residents needed a place to stay, we were prepared to provide that. And then also thanks to the Red Cross, they were fantastic. Miss Smith pointed out a gentleman by the name of Ernie Fox, and he did work that whole day, drive back to Victorville, and then Barstow, got the hey, we need those cots in the event that we need to turn our Freedom Plaza into an overnight shelter, and he got back and he drove all the way back. And Mayor Bilderain was kind enough to treat all of those attendees, all of those volunteers to a great dinner at 29 Beerco. So really just all in all, appreciate everyone's participation in that, because whether we like to or not, we were all a part of that. So want to move on to something a little lighter, and that was just to thank Councilmember Scott and all of those who attended the Saturday cleanup. It was remarkable to see the 20, 30, 40, probably 30, 40, 50 people that showed up to pick up trash over at District 1. My daughter and I showed up. It was actually District 4, excuse me, District 4. Yes. And so it was a great event, and I thought it was very productive. And if you were to go out there over by the post office, you'll see a substantial improvement. And so just wanted to acknowledge that and thank all of those who participated. I also want to remind the community that the strategic plan is still up on our website. There is a survey that you can complete so that you make sure that your voice is heard in that planning process. Also, one of the things, too, that is being brought to our attention that's just put out by the Weather Service is that it appears as though we could be having a heavier than normal monsoon season. And so there were many lessons that we learned last year during the flood, but that was really the preparation. And so that was something that the city staff came together. Carrie and her team took lead. And as Ms. Smith pointed out, we had our first ever, as far as I'm concerned, first ever emergency preparedness event on May 17th at our Freedom Plaza. I want to say we had 13 different vendors who were there to help guide people how to be prepared, how to be self-sufficient. And so I would just continue to encourage people to be proactive, be self-sufficient. City's going to do everything they can, but given the financial and the employee constraints, there's only so much we can do. So really, it's going to fall on you standing up and being active in your community, getting CERT trained. It's huge. I think, Ms. Peplow, you were CERT trained at some point. Absolutely a wonderful skill set to have, because that gives you the tools to stand up to be a leader on your street or within your blocks. Also, staff is still working on coming up with a maintained road list, and that is something that we are anticipating bringing up here in the future. And then one other comment too, someone had expressed some concerns about the T-bid providing a grant to a half marathon that is to occur within Joshua Tree. And I will check on this, but I believe the thought process went into that included the fact that that event brings in runners alone, 2,000 individuals. So that's not the spouses, that's not the children, that's not the fact that the typical runners will stay maybe 3 or 4 days. Some will make it a vacation. And so the Joshua Tree does not have the hotels or the Airbnbs to handle the thousands of people that it brings in. So I just thought that was important to point out. So thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
To add a public comment, I'd like to do a public comment on city manager update. You can, under the Brown Act.
What happened?
You can make a public comment, I didn't fill it out, but I will. I have one for the closed session, but that's about, I'm going to add, because I just want to respond to what he just said about the vacation races. Mayor Bilderain, you remember when we did Pioneer Days and had the highway shut down, and the banner I talked to you about, the back of the tourism board? That's the same event they're talking about. I just wanted to point that out, where I thought if we are sponsoring this, it would work better at the Village Fest booth or whatever. I was very frustrated with that. So that's one of the things on the T-bid. And again, I'm not trying to ream you guys here, because I really admire you guys and I've learned a lot here. But we have some serious concerns with the T-bid. It's not just me. I think and I was on that reauthorization committee, so I know what's going on with Civitas. I can't proceed with my Basin Wine thing now until Civitas closes whatever it is we've done now. And it's all going to be online. And again, I want to support this process, but they're not ready for a 5-year authorization. Absolutely not. But I agree. I think the jury can be out on the vacation races. If we can get people to stay here and have a way to track the metrics, great. Yeah, I'm happy for it. But the banner sitting in the back, I just think we need more direction. And I love Brianne. I'm just disappointed, and for years we've been asking for this. So please consider what people lost. Out of my 70 homes, I would say 50 sold for less, some of them underwater. They lost a lot. These are working families, teachers, people just like you who invested in a second property here, and it didn't go as they thought after the pandemic. And like I said, I lost a lot too, so that's just, leave it at that. Thanks.
You said invest in second property?
No, I'm just.
It's
this T-bid money comes from the assessment, so we got to make sure that if we are going to give the grants out, because we all know the history behind that and how it was recalled and revoked. So, and that $500,000 reserve, I just think that we need to be respectful of all these people who invested in this town.
Okay.
Thank you.
No, they said I invested in second property. I'm like, whoa.
No,
They said me. I'm like, I didn't.
No, and I'm being evicted from my house now, so again, I'm out of 29 homes.
I got you. Here we go. Once again, thank you for all the support from the city, from the incident. Octavia Scott, outstanding job on that cleanup. It was well attended. We pushed it hard, so good job. And that's what we do when we work together. Let's continue to all work together like we have been. I know behind the scenes we do a good job, but up front you probably don't see it, but we are working together, trying to do the right thing as much as possible. I have to adjourn this meeting to closed session. Oh, what?
And then the last public
I thought you just said it right now.
Well, I added that one for you can do a public
No, I thought
comment
you
on
just did
each
it right.
item on there.
No, I
So
thought you just did it right now.
My
That's
only
all.
comment on the public closed session item is to please everyone refer to the Desert Trumpets article on this topic and some of the closed session items that are going on. I think Cindy did a wonderful job on this, and I think we just need to work on our transparency. So if we're doing closed session items, we need to make sure we're reporting the minimum required stuff by the Brown Act. I don't think that's being done, and I'm sad that Mr. Munoz isn't here tonight to chime in on this because I was hoping he would be here. Thank you.
Okay, so the minimum requirement. Oh.
Because we're not getting
Yeah, the minimum.
litigation. Cindy did a great article.
No, yeah, the minimum.
Show Cindy some.
The minimum requirement you just saw item 12 from the last ones we've had.
What's that?
Item 12 tonight.
Item 12 would be. No, I'm talking about. She's talking about the pending litigation, this and that.
We got schooled on what we can and can't do.
I get it.
Yeah, so.
I just want to be transparent.
All right, well, I like that. All right, and during the closed session, a closed session of the city council may be held in accordance with the state law, which may include but not limited to the following types of items: personal matters, labor negotiations, security matters, providing instructions to real property negotiators, and conference with legal counsel regarding pending litigation. Nobody's even listening at all, walking out. The closed session will be held at City Hall Conference Room located at 6136 Adobe Road, 29 Palms, California. Any public comment on the closed session items will be taken before city for closed session. Any recorded announcement or discussion of city closed session items or actions following this closed session will be made in the City Council Chamber 6136 Adobe Road, 29 Palms, California. Closed session pursuant to Government Code 54957, Public Employees Performance Evaluation, City Manager.